Okay.
I'm gonna turn on the recorder.
And go. 12:35 on, 2:35 on Wednesday afternoon, May 14th. And we're at the Ecud board meeting room at 1039 North Moss. And this board meeting is in session. First item is public comment on agenda items. Members of the public may comment on any agenda item listed below. Members of the public may speak up for up to 3 minutes per agenda item on the comment. Members of the public will speak on the agenda item after the presiding officer calls the meeting to order. We don't have any non-agenda items. I'm gonna make one statement first. Since we got a lot of employees from the field, I'm assuming y'all are here for one thing, and that's PTOs.
No, sir.
No.
They're just here to enjoy it.
No, sir. The reason they're here is Jesus Sanchez had asked that they come in so that they could introduce themselves to the board. And then the board could, state their expectations of, what they expect. And then some of them might.
Why don't we take care of that first thing and get that out of the way? And then if they want to go. Make no sense in that. They probably not unless y'all on the clock.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, so let's
And
go ahead.
I don't want to speak for them. Some of them might stay for other items.
That's
on the
fine.
agenda.
That's fine. We need to get to know, I introduced myself to some of them the other day, and I had to ask them their name again today. I know Demetrio.
Sure.
There he is. But
He's high.
anyhow, where you want to start? Demetrio, you want to start on your end? Tell us
Sure,
what you do.
sure. Well, my name is Demetrio Galindo, I'm the field manager out here and just oversee all the daily operations.
Good.
All our crews out here, so, yes, sir.
You got a good crew?
I do, I got an awesome crew, more than one. Yes,
Good.
sir.
Hi, everyone. I'm Howard. I'm a water field technician, I guess you want to call it. 4 months on the job, new to the HTO game, I guess we say. Like the job so far, you know, learn something new every day and just enthusiastic, wake up and learn something new tomorrow.
Good.
That's about it.
Pancho?
Oh, partially, I'm I'll help install hydrants and work on the hydrovac and anything they need, I'm ready.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, yeah?
Y'all doing a job down the street from the house here the other day, and then you dumped water in my alley, and I thought I had to leave.
Oh, yeah?
Thank you.
I'm Levi, been here for three months. I'm with the hydrovac crew. You know, I'm just here to learn and grow with y'all.
Good.
I'm Dusty. I've been here about a year and a couple of months. Been doing water for 11 years. This will be my 11th year. I do ball valves, anything that's needed out there, line breaks, leaks, anything we get, I'm ready to do it.
Edward Gonzalez, I've been here about 2.5 years. I'm an equipment operator here. So anything y'all need, I'm here.
What equipment?
I can run anything you got,
Anything we can get?
anything you can get. Been there, done that.
Jovan Tavares, and I'm a field technician, mess with the meters and the curb stops. Ready for anything that, any leaks and stuff. Been doing it for 5 years already, because I work with the city as well.
Oh, good. Hey, Demetrio, I have a question. Who's in charge of the exercising the valves?
That's, we got one more over here.
Okay, I didn't know. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
I got ahead of myself.
My name is Darren Shipman. Been here probably 3 or 4 years. I'm a head hydrovac crew guy and also exercise and locate the valves. There's a lot out there that you can't find.
Well, there's 4 more uncovered on 42nd now.
We knew about-
There's a lot of moss that's still around.
Kind of hidden. Which ones does the crew do the meter installs? Is it all of you?
It's three. We got Alan, Dusty, and Joe Marr.
Good. And then Edward runs back over there.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And who's been here the longest? Or
Darren's been here.
I mean, we've been the longest, me and Demetrio and
Well,
We're missing one guy, he's out sick. Poncho, that's Francisco. It's me, Francisco, Raymond, and it's Edward. Derek, yeah.
Me and Darren got here the same month. Been here about 2.5 months.
September, I'll be here 4 years.
good.
Okay, yeah. I'm glad y'all are here.
Well, and some of them came from Holloman Construction and actually worked for the district as contractors for the district. So they weren't actually employed by the district, but that has added years in education of the district.
Yeah, thanks.
Does that make sense?
How many worked for Holland before?
Demetrio did.
I worked for
And Poncho.
And Poncho.
And
Part-time?
That was back 20 years over there.
So there's-
Wow, we know a lot of the same people.
Poncho worked for Holland for like 40 years, so.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You worked a long time.
How old is Poncho?
He is
We don't know.
63, 64. Oh, the Ravens were.
Nobody even asked, do they? Just don't tell.
Since y'all were in there for that, I jumped the gun, but just to let you know, your PTOs are safe. We're just trying to get on board on what all is going on here at Ecud. We're still new and learning, so. But we appreciate everything you guys do out there in the field.
Very much.
It takes a lot of crap from the public, first one thing and another, but we appreciate it all.
I've seen some of y'all out there and if I ever drive up, cause I know I pulled up on Demetrio
Yes, sir.
and, of course, they were doing work on fire hydrant right there on the corner of my house. I'm just going out there to see how y'all doing, make sure everything's fine. I did tell Poncho if they ever,
Raymond.
Raymond, I mean, yeah, Raymond.
No, he said, lady, Poncho,
Yeah,
my Poncho
I
being.
told Raymond, I said, next time y'all need to dump water, just dump it in my yard.
See,
So, but no, y'all a bunch of good guys and we appreciate everything y'all do and, hopefully we can start moving in a direction where things can start getting a little bit better. So,
Awesome.
we're looking at growing. We're always looking for growing. I don't think anybody wants to be in business to not grow.
Right.
So,
Feel free to get my number from Debbie if y'all have any problems out in the public, especially in a situation that, you know, we've been through a couple of situations that were really tough.
Yeah.
I'll be glad to come talk to the public for you. I'll be glad to come be a buffer between you guys. You guys don't deserve that. So I'm available 24 hours a day. So just feel free to get my number if you've got somebody mad with the customer, with y'all or whatever's going on. Call me and I'll come out.
likewise.
Yeah, another time. You got it.
You're free. Feel free to call me. If somebody gets ugly, I'll come and take the brunt of it.
And I'd like to get Demetrio's phone number too,
Yes, sir.
and I'll give you my number and then I'll give you Troy's number.
Perfect.
They might know where it's at, didn't
He's got my number.
Okay.
Well, I got a new phone, so I gotta get everybody's.
Again?
Everybody's number. But
All right, item number 2, discuss, review, and take action on engagement of new bookkeeper, and we have a comment from the public, Tommy Irwin.
Thank you, John. Hey, when I become president out here in May 17, one of our goals was to get the bookkeeping stuff in-house and take it away from the city. So over a period of time, was able to make that happen. Johanna out here, she went to Odessa College. She got some on-the-job experience while she's here. So the bookkeeping stuff that she's got going on, not only did she learn here in this building, she also learned from Odessa College. So I don't understand why it was brought up, and I don't see there's any way to get any better or less expensive than Ecud is today. Here's what I say. After last month's meeting, listen to Nicole, it seemed like to me it's pretty obvious after I showed people the video, what was going around here, that people know about the bigger companies and the bigger muds about what's happening. So I'm gonna address this right here to President Nicole. What she's looking for And I sat over there in that chair last month and I said, this is a setup, this is a setup, this is a setup. What she's looking for is to move the bookkeeping, she'll make this happen, to her firm, get her a gold star on the wall. And this is gonna keep on going. She's either gonna move it to her farm in Houston, or she's gonna move it somewhere into Austin, San Antonio, or get it out of here. And I believe her it goes to have any and all parts of Ecud business, move to her farm, her firm, or from this office. At this time, this board has 100% control. Y'all can come into this business. Y'all can take and talk to any of the employees out here anytime y'all darn well want to. And y'all can ask questions about what's going on. Y'all can look at the bookkeeping. Y'all can look at everything out here. Nobody can stop. But I hope y'all start doing this instead of relying on Nicole to take over what I believe is a pretty good deal going on. Now, this is the bookkeeping part. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your comment, but you don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Yeah,
We're not gonna get into that discussion. No, you had your 3 minutes, Tom.
You're not supposed to respond, John.
Well, I did.
Can't control.
If you want to respond, you need to run back for this position.
I don't want to run back this.
We're through.
I was here for 7 years.
We're through.
If we're John, then don't respond to me.
We're through.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. If you're gonna disrupt the meeting, I will call the sheriff.
I'm not even finished with my 3 minutes, John.
You said, okay, get that.
I'll let you have the last word.
Anyhow, Mr. Irwin does not have a clue what he's talking about. We don't know what we're thinking about. We've thought about bringing it in-house, but he don't know what we're thinking. So don't rely on everything he says. He's had his turn. It's this board's turn. And our job to try and increase the customer base here. There are people out here who've been waiting for water for 30 years, and we borrowed $45 million, and all we got was infrastructure out of it. But anyhow, because we haven't got much response, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this, and we'll address it at a later date.
I second.
All in favor? Discuss, review, and take action on training opportunities for employees, including approval of education and commitment to employment agreement for same.
There's no supporting paperwork on this one.
That was for the classes for picking out somebody to,
For their license.
yeah.
License.
And have we done that?
Pardon me?
Have we picked anybody out?
Yes.
Well,
We already got somebody with license here.
yeah.
Yeah, but they don't have enough of them.
So
What the board wants to do is we'd like to be, and it's gonna take a while, it's not, we can do it immediately, but we wanna take over PSC's job.
We want you to. You want y'all to.
Yeah, we
We want
want
y'all to be qualified and enough of you qualified to do what they do to eliminate that cost and make things better for y'all, make y'all more.
We're just trying to eliminate the cost that it's costing, nothing against PSC, Josh does a great job and his crew, so.
Like I said, PSC won't always.
No, they'll still be around.
They're still gonna be around.
What license are required for that?
Well, those are, so,
You gotta start with the basic.
yeah, you'll get the basis and you'll be able to get
Class C.
Class C. And then, and this is being given to anybody that's wanting to do it. I mean, right now, I think Debbie had looked at a few, the guys and asked, and so I think we've got some guys, but we want to make it to where you're advancing.
But is it a B or an A that you're wanting per se?
All of them eventually.
Eventually. So as far as you want to go,
The more the better.
the more the better.
And that goes for every single one of you. I mean, if you want to do it, get in line.
Just can't do it all at once.
Well, it's because I have my C, so I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
but
what I'm wanting.
B and A,
B and A.
possible. And then somebody else with a B and A behind you. That way, if you're sick or whatever, just more and more backup. The more we can help y'all, the more y'all can help us.
I think my B requires 5 more classes, and then to renew my C, it's 4 more. So I think 9 classes. All's good.
And David's got a contract. I think you don't have it yet, but we're working on one. Okay, so Cody's working. But anyhow, we'll ask a little bit out of y'all. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Kelly, I prepared the education commitment to employment agreement. I sent that out to all the board. I made it fairly broad to encompass any type of training, any of the employees wanted to, attend or participate in. Basically, the employee would, submit a written request detailing that course and or training to the board and the estimated costs and expenses associated with the training. And then the board would approve that request. And then, Debbie would have this education and commitment to employment agreement that the district and the employee would enter into. And then they would, move forward with taking the course and or training that they had requested. They would, in exchange for y'all reimbursement for that training, they would, commit to maintain their employment with the district, for a duration of 1 year following the completion of that training. So if y'all have any other questions or comments on the employment agreement or any revisions, I'm happy to make, but if there isn't any, y'all can approve the draft agreement, and then I will get that agreement to Debbie so that she'll have, when any employee does bring a request and the board approves it, she'll be able to go ahead and get that agreement signed with the district employee.
Okay, well, that agreement wasn't put in our packet this time. We've read it.
We don't have it.
We
She
didn't,
sent
I
it,
didn't
What
get
did we
it.
read last month?
Yeah, I didn't,
she sent it to you.
no, I didn't send it to Debbie. I only sent it to the board. Once the board says it's good, then I get it to Debbie.
I didn't get it yet.
You checked your email?
And I checked it this morning, but I haven't seen it, so I'll look through my spam, I guess.
I'm pretty sure I read it because I thought that looked good.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Johanna, were you reimbursed for the classes that you took for what was it? The bookkeeping stuff?
No, for her, no, she didn't get
Oh,
reimbursed
no.
for any of her Odessa College with her
Okay,
associate's
well, we
degree.
need to make sure that's included, especially if she wanted to continue doing whatever, we need to make sure they're covered too, don't we? Or, my opinion. If they're bettering themselves at their job here.
I do agree with this. I didn't know we were doing that.
Well, I know that she was sent there for, when I was with the previous board and the previous board. We sent, she went to do that to try to help out. And I thought she was reimbursed.
Somebody needs to keep us up to speed on that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, we'll look at that. And I'm not saying that you're not gonna get reimbursed. This, we want to look at it because we want to see how much more, and if you still want to continue. So,
To make sure that you're not
Yes.
a foot in the hole. For sure.
so that's,
Try to help you.
we'll look at that and we'll get. Yeah,
Sure.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Because.
So which director did get the email? So I can forward it to them?
Walker.
Oh, okay. So do y'all want to table it,
Yeah.
until next month?
Yeah,
So,
until he looks at it.
Director Walker can have a chance to look at it?
Yeah.
Please, sorry.
I'm gonna forward that right now to you, Mr. Walker.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion, we table this.
I say it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Receive an update from the committee related to discounts for new water taps, changes to monthly base rates, and the district rate order and policies for delinquent accounts, and take any necessary action following the same.
This is a landlord remedy policy.
Huh?
That we're talking about is.
Are we talking about the landlord part, or are we talking about the new homeowner part?
I think, well, this is gonna be
Both.
both.
And it's not necessarily just new owner.
It's not just.
Well, I'm.
Yeah, I have this item for all the committee, items.
Do what?
Yeah, this item was to encompass, the items that the committee was gonna,
Yes,
discuss
yes.
and bring back to the board.
Yes.
Okay.
So what are you addressing, sir? Landlord and renter policy?
Well, Susan, I took some time on here and we come up, I mean, again, this is just a suggestion, you know. Look at the Ecud landlords and renters policies, forms that I gave you. You wanna read these or you want? Go ahead. Application procedures and process and procedures. Upon applying the services, Ecud must determine if the applicant is a renter or a landowner of the property. Renters must fill out a new form, which also requires the landlord's signature. Procedures for owners. Property owners will continue the standard connection procedures established by Ecud. Procedures for renters. Renters must complete a form that is also signed by the landlord and provide contact information for the property being serviced. Both parties must provide their contact information before the connection can proceed. This form is similar to the owner's form, but includes a clause stating that the landlord is responsible for a bill if a tenant leaves an outstanding balance due to Ecud. Any disputes will be addressed by Ecud and reviewed by the board. Both the renter and the landlord are also required to pay a deposit at the time of requesting services. The amount will be determined by Ecud board. Payment failure protocol. The form must include procedures for handling payment failures by the renter. Both renter and landlord will be notified by certified letter at the customer's expense. A lock will be placed on the meter. A fee will be charged to remove the lock and continue service once the balance or any issue is resolved. If the meter lock is removed by anyone other than Ecud employee authorities will be notified and charges will be filed against both the renter and the landlord. This change aims to protect both renters and landlords from unnecessary charges and safeguard Ecud. So, I mean, this is what we're thinking is the best answer for both the customer, the property owner, and Ecud.
Some of those are already in place, aren't they?
Yes.
Some of them are, there's, one will have to, come up with a form for the renters. And then we'll have to, put the disclosure information on there for the landlord. And then I would suggest part of it, in the form, absolutely outline the payment failure protocol of what will be happening. So I guess the only thing is that we would need the form. Did y'all come up with a form?
No, this is just us discussing.
Do you want us to come up with a form, an application form?
Yes.
Okay, so,
That's,
so we can come up with an application renter's form where we'll include this. And then, did y'all have any thought on what additional fees or deposits that you wanted
so
to
we want
incur?
to be,
You want,
it's gotta be, we're not looking to, we're not trying to make money off of it. Well, but it's gotta be enough for them to say, hey, we need to not do this.
Well, the deal is, if everything that we take as a deposit, we always give back. I mean, that's, if you watch the bank account, there's fees that go back. So, I mean, it's really a moot point, but give them, put some skin in the game. I think $7,500 at least for the landlord. I don't know what the normal deposit is.
How much?
$75 to $100.
I would say they're probably the average deposit that they're putting on to rent that property is no less than $1,000.
Really? Yes, all the time. Oh,
Am I wrong? Is it, I mean, the average about 1,000, 1,200? 1,200? So, yeah, so it's between 1,000 and 1,200 is what a tenant is gonna put down as a deposit with that landlord.
Right.
So if we're gonna have the landlord put down a deposit with this, it's gonna be different. What do you want that landlord's deposit to be?
Well, that's something that we gotta discuss, because I didn't want to throw any numbers in because this can, regular, deposits, rates, and everything will change, but this will stay the same. So that's why I didn't throw any numbers in there. So yes, we come up with it. I think this is a lot better situation than we've been in. I think the certified letter, I think everything that you're doing is really good. I think we just need to finalize some numbers and that's it. And figure that out.
I would like to add that if it's notarized, the contract or agreement is better instead of just signing with Ecud or.
We have a notary.
If they can, if they.
Permits.
Okay, even better, see, if it's notarized, it's even better.
Okay, so the only other question that I have is that this is gonna be for all, starting this day forward, so we can't go backwards.
Right.
And try to find all the landlords,
No,
'cause some of them
This is
don't.
going forward.
Okay. And then some of our properties are owned by individuals that do not live in Ector County or even live in the state of Texas.
We can email them. We can ask an email from their, renters.
And then have a notarized form sent back to us.
That's assuming that they will answer.
Well, if they don't, then they don't get water, they don't get to rent the land. So they're gonna be talking to the renter, because they want to rent. Yeah, they want that money. And it does seem a little extreme, but just, when it comes to water, again, I've said this before, 3 things that we need to survive: air, water, food. Yeah. You try to steal one of those things, it's bad, it's bad. So.
Is this,
Okay, so I think this is an item, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, but this is an item that, we're gonna table for adoption at the June meeting. And then we'll put the fees and everything in there.
you talking,
Yeah, and then we'll make it effective for your June meeting.
Okay.
okay, I got a question. Are we talking RV parks? Are we talking?
This is
mobile
everything.
home?
This is
Park?
everything. Everything.
What if the individual owns the trailer, they're just paying land rent? And the one that owns the trailer has a meter in their name.
As long as whoever's paying, making sure that that trailer is legally there is responsible. I mean, if they want to sublease it to somebody else, that's their problem.
I'm talking about who's responsible, the person that owns the trailer or the person that owns the land?
Person that owns the land. So this is.
Why should they be responsible if the meter was taken out in the trailer person's,
Well, the way the new one is written, after July 1st or whatever, whenever we approve this, both parties know that they're responsible. If that renter moves on
That's way right there. I'm talking,
previous,
yes.
the landlord is still previous. I think, I mean, we have a policy on board that says the landlord is still responsible.
How do they know?
They don't. That's the reason this has been written with the certified letters from this day forward, that they'll get a certified letter when that renter falls behind.
That's like same old deal. Put it back on your dish.
Yeah,
You know?
but so I know what you're talking about is, and that's a unique situation because you have this property, each renter has a meter. And technically, when they come get service, they got their information. And, technically, they should be responsible with, but when they skip out, pick up somebody,
When they pick up the lead.
I mean, all. That's what the
That's
deposit's
what
for.
the deposit's for, from the landlord. But they can take the trailer with them, you know,
No, they can't take no 60-foot trailer.
Is that
14?
is that where we can put a lien on that? No, because it's a movable product and you can put a lien on the land, but you can't put a lien on the trailer.
Can the landlord put a lien on the trailer?
Landlord can do something, but we can't.
I'm just saying, there's gonna be a jumbo.
That's a lot of gray area, but that's what we at the original board that I signed up for
You know, we had so much money that was owed to us because of this same situation that we were just trying to stop the bleeding, more or less. And we did not go through and, I mean, the certified letter to me is golden. I'm glad we're doing that. And we didn't do that before, but we just had to stop the bleeding at that point. When, you know, it's like being out on the battlefield, somebody get their leg cut off, you put on a tourniquet and worry about the rest of the leg.
Okay. Ecud is in their rights to file charges against that person if they go out there and get that lot.
Absolutely.
But according to what John was telling me the other day, very rarely does that do any good.
Because it's hard to prove who did it. But if we've got a letter stating you will be charged.
You're talking about everything in forward. We're talking about in the past.
I think this is gonna be something that we're gonna have to sit there and try to figure something out.
Right, I was,
Is any of
there's,
this acceptable in the?
there's gonna be, unique situations that are gonna pop up in the
Right,
future.
and
And
that's
we're
why,
gonna have to keep
that's why I put it in
modifying
there.
probably the policy as we go, as new situations pop up.
I
We'll
mean,
probably
we
have to
can't
be-
fix the past, but we can, you know, start fixing the future and hopefully, you know, as these things turn over and new renters come in, they fall into this policy and they're covered.
Okay, let's move on. What's the next one?
well,
Hey,
that's just, we're tabling this to get a price.
Well,
prices and stuff.
we got more than one thing on this agenda that we got to agree on. Are we tabling all of those?
They're not separate,
No.
it's all the same.
Well,
Yeah, I think we'll have the committee continue on, and then for next month,
Okay.
we'll put a specific item to review, approve the and breakfast policy.
Okay. Next one is, new water connections inside Ecud district. And this is the discounts that we've talked about. So, go ahead.
Okay, new water connections inside the Ecud district. Discount opportunities for single-family homes. Discount availability. To assist homeowners in managing the costs associated with new water connections, the Ecud district is offering attractive discount options during the months of March, April, and May. These discounts are exclusively available for single-family residences and do not apply to commercial developments, RV parks, new subdivisions, or other non-residential properties unless otherwise approved by the Ecud board. Discount options. We have designed two distinct discount options to cater to different financial preferences and needs. Option number one, financing. For homeowners who prefer to spread out their payments, the Ecud district offers a financing plan. By choosing the full rate, you can finance the cost over a period of 6 months. This option provides flexibility and ease in managing the expenses associated with new water connections. Option number two, immediate payment. For those who opt to pay for the full amount upfront, the Ecud district offers a significant discount. By paying in full, homeowners will receive a discount on the cost of their new water connection, which will be at Ecud cost. The option rewards prompt payment and provides immediate savings. Eligibility and application process. To qualify for these discounts, homeowners must meet the following criteria. The property must be classified as a single-family home. The application for a new water connection must be submitted within the discount period, March, April, or May. The homeowner must choose one of the two available discount options. The application process is straightforward and designed to ensure quick and efficient approval. Homeowners are encouraged to contact the Ecud district office for detailed instructions and initiate the application process. Benefits of new water connections. By securing a new water connection within the Ecud district, homeowners will enjoy numerous benefits, including improved access to reliable and safe water services, enhanced property value and attractiveness, support from the Ecud district in maintaining and managing the water connection. Conclusion. The Ecud district is committed to providing excellent water services to its residents. The new water connections and associated discount options represent our dedication to supporting homeowners and enhancing the quality of life within our community. We encourage eligible homeowners to take advantage of these discounts and secure their new water connections during the designated period.
so the cheapest they can get it is 2,400 and change.
Yes.
For a single family home,
for a single family home.
that's more than I thought.
I don't think that's gonna be low enough.
Well, the reason,
What
well,
would,
go ahead, Nicole.
what would be that immediate payment? What would be that immediate payment amount under option two, 2,400?
Yes, ma'am.
24 and some change, huh? I don't have the figures right here.
Okay. And then, would we modify the date? If y'all approve it today, would we modify for the months of June, July, and August for any, single family homes who, wanted to have to do water connections?
Instead of March, April, and May.
For this starting off, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That'd be all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, because March and April, we've already passed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they spread that out into 6 months, what is the normal price, David?
27 something.
It's 27.50.
2750, so 2750 divided by 6.
No, you're gonna charge them Ecud's cost, so it's 2,400.
But not on
I'm thinking
on the financing. My son's fixing to buy a piece of my land that needs a water tap, and I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, so if you pay
Option
the
one's
full
27.50.
upfront, it's the 24, 20.
24 something.
And if you decide to finance, you'll pay the 30-some hundred that we charge
$460
finance
a
in
month.
6 months.
I think it'll work on that. They'll go with that.
So to confirm, if it's option one and they're gonna finance it, the amount is $2,750 over 6 months, which would be about $458 for the 6 months,
Yes.
or is there a higher amount for the finance?
And most of that was still made, because, I mean, they can still put a deposit and lower, because most of them will come in with a deposit, so
And lower.
it lowers it, so.
Okay.
What's the,
Okay, and then immediate payment is
I've got
upfront
3
$2,400.
children and buy land on my property.
what's the price if they finance it? 30 what?
For,
2750
so 483.
divided by 6, 458,
458.
4333 for 6 months.
That's the Ecud's price, eh?
No.
Yes.
That's 2750 is what we charge.
That's what we charge.
24 and some change is what the cuts price is.
Okay.
So if they paid it all at once, it's 2450, which
I thought it was like 3,500.
for all my kids, they'll have to do payments.
That's a half inch.
Yes.
That's a half inch.
3/4.
3/4.
3/4. Yeah.
We don't do happy shit. Still don't think it's cheating.
Well,
We can't.
I don't think we're gonna get any response on that at that price.
there's,
From my standpoint, saving $300.
Why bother?
Yeah.
And, you know,
and there's a.
I'm looking at it from, I have 3 children at home. My 17-year-old son wants to buy 6 acres and start working on putting in a septic, putting in water, just to have a place to live. My 26-year-old's wanting to buy a little section and put a little mobile home around on Sierra there. And they're all gonna have to have water taps, and, I mean, it's pricey.
Yeah. No, and one of the deals is, because we also talked about looking into where we get our meters, and, you know, that's one of the reason I didn't include the pricing, because that could lower.
Yeah.
We could figure out, so it's not saying, it doesn't have the price set at 20, that's 2750, 24, because we can lower that, but
Then we're losing money.
yeah, so we're gonna try to find ways to get it lower.
Mediate
Yes,
somewhere in between.
so the pricing that it is right now is not guaranteed it'll be that next year.
Right.
We're looking to lower it,
Okay,
so
fair enough.
that's our goal.
I like the idea.
Is there any thought about, decreasing the immediate payment amount? To Director Kelly's point is that it's really only a $350 difference. I mean, if the goal is to get more people with connections, yeah, you would take a little bit of loss, but like we talked about in past meetings, you would gain a new customer now.
Right.
Yeah, and Nicole, I think, we're looking at this as if, because I didn't plan to June, July, like y'all are asking. I was like, okay, it gives us a whole another year to actually try to lower that price.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, okay. So it's something y'all want to maybe roll out next year.
yeah, so the new pricing,
Okay.
yeah, because we've got to look at, if we're getting, where we're getting our meters and all that is the best and cheapest. Can we find somewhere else? So, yeah, we're looking at trying to find ways to lower that. Because, yeah, I know, I mean, the city charges 8 something for a 3/4 inch connection. So, that's where I'm like, what's the difference? Are they?
Okay, so this isn't something this isn't something we will likely present to, homeowners for 2025.
Correct. I mean, it's still anybody, right now, anybody's wanting to get a connection and, they want to pay full price. I mean, we're looking at, I know you said 300, whatever, it's not a lot, it's not. But we got to start somewhere. I mean, we can't just, right now, I mean, if we cut it, if we say we're getting it half off, then we're not making any money.
We're not making any in. We're just doing it at cost, but how much money we want to lose, I mean.
That's it.
I
It
mean,
turns into, right now, it's turning
we may
into,
not get 10 people to say, yeah, I'll jump on that. They've been sitting in the district for years and got water running out in front of their house and they had.
well, I mean, right now, it's there. Somebody wants it, because it may entice somebody. It may not. But next year, when March, April, May come around, or, we may have that rate, we may have found our meters, or all the stuff we need to make connection, we may have found it a lot cheaper. And we can say, okay, this is where we're at now.
Well, what do we, Debbie, if you don't mind me asking, what do we charge? We know that there are meters in the ground from the city, that the city did before we ever took over. What do you charge those customers? Is it the same thing?
Those are the ones that don't need to be.
Well,
See, those are the ones that we need to.
Well, if it's already got a tap and it's already hooked up, it's just, they're already there, they're already established. It's just.
So what's the fee for that? Because
What's the
Meter's
fee for
already
that?
there, they're already there, it's got a tap,
They're not using it.
they're not using it.
The ones that were left over from the city don't
Yes, sir.
fall under this. They're not being charged anything.
They're not being charged anything.
We're not in charge to go out there and tie it in, or it's already tied
It's
in.
already,
The city
It's
did
like
that.
that.
they're
The
already
board's
tapped.
policy now is we don't make that connection until we're gonna start charging you to make that connection, but we grandfathered all those in.
Yeah, those
Matter of
are
fact,
here.
last summer, we had to put together a team to go out there and audit and verify that those actually existed.
So we could aim at those right away and say, hey, you can have water right now for free. If we targeted those customers,
If everybody used that.
well,
So-
you're not paying the $2,400 tap, 25.
Well, and that's
27.50.
some of the main ones.
Yeah.
I mean, that first, and then anybody's got water running out in front of their house.
Yeah.
Whether they want it or don't want it, I mean, at the time, they may have said it was too high and they got a water well to get by on that. Or whatever, but there's some of them in there that's still gonna say, I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know?
Well, and we give them that offer now and then tell them, if you don't take this in the next 6 months.
All right, well, let's go ahead, let's go ahead and do it where we'll stick with the prices you come up with and we can, attack them for June, July and August. And that next year we'll have a year or next May. Yeah, next March, between there and now, we'll work on trying to get the price down lower than what it is. Cause I don't think we're gonna get any takers, but we'll put it out there. And what they're saying, go ahead and follow through with the plan they got.
Yes, I mean, that's the reason I didn't tie any
Let's try that for this
prices to it, because
Yeah.
our goal is to
That's a
lower.
good idea.
But we gotta, like you said, we gotta do something. I don't want your time being wasted for, you all spent.
We're
But
gonna go and do that for.
let's do that.
July, August. In July, August.
Let's do, June's almost here. I do it July, August, September. Yeah, David.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have just a couple of questions, Nicole. So under the financing option, are you gonna draft a contract for financing? We'll have to have a contract for that.
Don't we already have something? Because we've been financing some of that before.
We haven't been financing anything.
Well, if somebody comes in with late payments, they can't pay it all in, and you let them pay it down. What do you got for that?
So on our payment options, we have a little form, but I don't know that if it's what Nicole wants as far as a contract. So that's why I don't know whether we want to use that one. Do we want to draft a contract that has all of this language in it?
That makes it legally binding, so they don't step out in 3 months and have water tap in.
What do you think, Nicole?
Yeah, I can certainly draft an agreement. I mean, it's no interest, just a 6-month payment.
Yeah,
I mean, it's basically you're entering into kind of a payment plan with them for the tap fee.
Right, so it'll have a start date payment. And if the board will allow, you and I can partner together to work on this contract back and forth with the existing contract we have. And that way we already know what due dates are, when the delinquents come out and everything.
Yeah.
And put that language in there. If the board will allow you and I to work on it, I can do that with you.
Let her review the one that y'all already got. It
Yeah,
may
I mean,
be
you'll have
sufficient.
some sort of formal. I'm sorry, if y'all already have some sort of form for prepay or a payment plan with some customers, we can certainly work off that as long as y'all aren't assessing any interest, which I don't believe y'all are.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, Debbie and I can work on that if that's what the board would like us to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't want to get your hopes down.
And then,
Sure.
I'm sorry, what was the last
No.
comment?
No, go ahead. We had a-
And so then I know Debbie had previously, prepared like a draft letter that she could send to customers. I mean, she may have to modify a little bit to, kind of discuss the two options. And, I'd like to have it, I'd like the amounts to be in that letter, so that you can choose option one and finance the total cost over 6 months, or you can pay a one-time immediate payment and get a slightly discounted rate. But you have to, you have to fill out that application, between July, August, and September.
Yeah.
And so if y'all are good with that, Debbie can modify her letter. I'm happy to review that. And then, we'll have the contractor application, contract, I don't even want to call it a contract, but a payment plan type for the financing if somebody elects option one, ready for any July 1 applicant.
Okay. That'll work for me. Work. That's just, we got a comment
And
on
then
that.
I did,
Go ahead. Did you need something else to go?
so I just wanted to say, I mean, when I communicated some of the information to Gerald and Jesus, I did advise that this shouldn't be something that we do, 4 times a year or something. I mean, if we're gonna roll this out, it really should only be once a year. Because again, I mean, some customers, they may feel well, I did it in October. I didn't know you were gonna roll it out again in January or something to that effect. So again, I mean, it's gotta be kind of a targeted thing where it's just, once a year. And at some point it may fall off and y'all don't offer this anymore. But, it just can't be something that's like a rolling letter that we send out, throughout the year.
So we shouldn't do it for July, August, and September this year, and then March, April, and May of next.
Again, I mean, y'all can, I would say you should just do it that one time next year. But I mean, you may have homeowners that say, well, I missed the September window, so I came in October and then I was back to the normal 2,750. I didn't get the discount, and then little did I know y'all were gonna roll it out again in March. But again, y'all know your residents and constituents better.
Not really.
But I don't think it's something that y'all should be doing constantly throughout the year, offering these types of discounts.
No, that's why we specifically put Center in there, because most of the time, that's when people are doing.
Okay.
For, running the spring, they're doing additions, doing new work, so
And
that's. why-
again, I mean, Daryl, I just, I thought y'all were trying to roll this out this year. That was my mistake. If it's something that y'all feel better rolling out next year for March, April, and May, like y'all have here, then I mean, we can table this and hold till March or, till January, February, until y'all are maybe able to get the cost of the meters down. I just know that, y'all
Well, it's,
have a few meetings, y'all have been very, y'all have been really trying to get new customers and new connections.
that's what I started saying, it's defeating the purpose of the whole thing, because the purpose of it is trying to get new, clients and customers. And, if you think it's gonna look bad to
I
go
would say,
to the summer and then change it to the spring, well, but I would think that would be far enough apart.
yeah, I mean, I would say 2 months at least. July, August.
All right, well, let's try July and August, and then if we want to change it next March, pricing wise, we will.
And again, that's why.
Well, let's see how it works out.
Yeah, no, I think it'll become more enticing once we move over there.
Okay. Let me get a comment from the.
So I know you were saying that the city charges $800 for their taps. They also charge for a sewer tap $600. But the way they did that, they went to Mr. Walker and Mr. Kelly and said, how much will you charge to do our taps? The city pays the rest of that cost. So if it's $3,000 for that tap, you're responsible for the 800. The city has to pay the rest of that cost for you because that's been in place for so long. It's not just $800 for that tap, it's almost $3,000. But the city, there's no way Ecud could do that. There's no way.
The city contracts it out.
To Edward, is it Edward Madrid? Edward Madrid does all of their taps.
Yep.
But they have to pay the difference. So if it's $3,000, you pay 800, the city has to cover the rest of that cost. And they took that over 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Okay.
So it's not just an $800 tap
Okay, you're right. Cause my mom just had a tap and we paid 600.
for the sewer, and the water's 800.
Yeah.
All right, the next one's suggested portable meter.
Does that make sense, Daryl? So the city is absorbing the loss
Yeah.
in
Well,
their
there's some
budget.
people in the county also said that was.
You see what I'm saying? So they've got it factored into their P and L.
Thank y'all.
We're getting close to our time, but appreciate it. What's our phone numbers? Need something? Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys, appreciate everything y'all do.
All right, guys, see y'all tomorrow.
Sorry, no,
Let's see, so next is just a portable water meter rates for Ecud. Ensuring fair and equitable pricing. After thorough review of current portable water meter rates, we propose a change to ensure fair and equal rates for all customers in the Ecud district. Below are suggested rates for portable meters. The rates are recommendations and subject to approval. Suggested rates. So our current rate right now is what they rent the meters for so much.
I heard mine for the first 2,000.
Well, no, to rent the meter.
Oh, I don't know what we do on renting.
do you know?
Jamie,
What is
What is the going rate for renting the meter?
Our portables are $100.
Right.
Yeah, it's $100.
a month?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh,
I thought it was like,
$100 a month.
okay,
Okay, so we're gonna go up on that to 125.
well, yeah.
How much is our, for 2,000 gallons, well, where are these numbers in comparison to what we charge now?
I'd have to break these down. You guys have it down as per gallon, per charge per 1,000
We
gallons.
charge per gallon.
So
But y'all charge like $12 per 1,000 gallons.
It's, it was like $8.
is eight, the first, yeah.
So
that's
the first 2,000 is covered by the.
So you
base
break
rate.
that,
You break that up per gallon.
We came up like cheap, the portable meter was cheaper than what we charge senior citizens for their service.
Oh, wow, okay, yeah,
So,
so they need to go up.
right.
Yeah, and we have to convert it to, in order for billing processes through AVR, so it has to be compatible.
Okay, so
That's what they're paying per gallon.
I wish I could pay that.
Yes, exactly.
So can you look at these, John, do you mind looking at these numbers? And see where we are with what we are now and make sure that we're increasing these, double check them. Let's table it until next month, and when we have the final numbers, we can approve it.
Well, let's, why don't you read it out loud so people can hear what the numbers
All
are?
right, okay, and then I got a question.
Cause right now, I think, right now for $8, I mean, they get 1,000 gallons. That comes out to, per gallon, it's 0.008, not even a penny.
Yeah.
So when we're paying for 65 gallons, when you break it down, it's 0.0325. So we're paying 3.25 cents per gallon. So there's nowhere near that's fair to every customer that's
To the
out here.
homeowners, yeah.
Hell, I want a meter instead of,
I want a portable meter in my house, yeah.
so that's what I'd like to have. So, I forgot Joanna or Perla I talked to, and they did tell me that there's not, I don't think there's anybody that uses over 25,000 gallons.
Might be purple.
I guess it's probably Perla. So I didn't go any higher than that. So from 0 to 2,000 gallons is, 0.03, three and a quarter cents. 2,000 to 2001 gallons to 5,000, three, 3/4 cents per gallon. 5,001 gallons to 10,000 gallons is 4 cents per gallon. And 10,001 gallons up is 4.5 cents a gallon. So the way it should be is the more you use is the more you pay. Because we're not in an area where we just got water. We
Running
need
out of
to
meters, yeah.
conserve water, and this is what this helps do.
And this will also stop some of the contractors like we had up on Arcadia that would just flush their trucks, wash out their trucks and flood somebody else's property and piss somebody off.
Yeah.
So that might stop some of that too. So I think this is a good idea if we make sure the numbers are good and we're making it, make sure that it's more than a normal residence, John.
Looks like it's gonna be more than your.
It's more than what you anticipate. It's more than your original goal was, so I would recommend to the board that they adopt it at this meeting, and we'll
I got
put it in place.
one question on the other, even on the rates, it doesn't matter whether it's portable or residential. It's, what is it, 3,000, 5,000 gallons, or 2,000 to 5,000 gallons. And then it jumps from, after that, it goes from 6,000 to whatever. What do you figure in between the 5 and the 6? You're sticking with the price per thousand? I mean, what if it comes out to 3,500 gallons?
So then you calculate it at 3, because you're gonna pick up that 500 gallons next
At the
month.
next price.
In the next cycle of billing.
Yeah, okay. Oh, for the next month.
Okay. Are you through? You got your answer? I'm sorry. Then I make a motion that we approve the suggested portable water meter rates for Ecud.
We gotta split this up because we got 2 other items on the same deal that we're gonna.
Yeah, but I was only making the motion for this one.
Yeah.
So in your motion, you'll have to table the other two.
Right, but I wanted to make sure that we passed this before we moved on.
We'll make a motion for that. and
Yes,
Make a motion, we table the other 2.
Yes, sir.
It's all on the same.
At the same time?
Yeah.
In the same
Okay,
motion.
all right. I make a motion, we approve the suggested portable water meter rates for Ecud. And I make a motion that we table the new water connections inside the Ecud district and the new landlord and renters policy.
I second it.
If that makes sense.
Good job, Troy. I know you got you here for a reason.
You guys figured this out, what it ended up costing.
As far as total,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are we gonna approve it or not?
Have to make a,
Well,
we have a
it's
second.
open for discussion before we vote.
Okay.
So y'all calculated, because I got John just calculated what it's gonna be, so maybe, so tell him.
We're not getting rich, I know that, but it's,
Oh,
it's,
you might be.
it's fair to,
Isn't it showing like $32 per thousand
Per
gallons?
thousand?
no.
Yeah,
It's, oh yeah, hold on.
Yeah, so we're wondering if you guys.
Yes,
So if you use 10,000 gallons, the
So
first
you're-
2,000 gallons is gonna be
Yes, you're
$32. Then I'm gonna go up to
How much is
37.
it, $32 for 1,000 gallons?
Yes, sir.
and
Oh,
what,
Connect, connected residences pay, $65 for 2,000 gallons. It's
Right,
cheaper,
but
it's still cheaper.
Well, no, sir. They're paying 125 for 2,000 gallons.
Now they're paying 225, they're paying 125 for having the meter only.
Right, but that base rate covers from 0 to 2,000 gallons, whether you use it.
No, they won't cover from 0 to 2,000. It won't
I'm just telling you what it does now.
Well, not with this, not with this.
yeah, cause how many companies do we have that just use 2,000, or how many meters are there?
16.
How many of them actually use 2,000 gallons?
Out of 16, if I had to guess, I would say 14.
14.
No, they use more than that. They use more than 2,000. I would say 14.
so what are they paying now for 2,000 gallons?
$100.
And they would pay $64 plus the
So
100.
you're,
So
all
it'd
they're
be
paying is
$164.
$25 more and what they're using.
This is the
Yeah,
rate,
yeah.
rental rate for meter plus service fee of $125 per month and rate per gallon.
So they'd be paying 125 and 64, where right now they're paying 100. Yes?
So all it's turning into is that you're paying for your water. Well, you're paying the 125 for the meter.
Which I think it's fair to pay for the meter separate and not include water on it,
Correct.
like you do like the homeowner does.
Yeah, we should never tied.
Yeah, that should
Water
be
to
tied together. I think that's a better way, and we actually make a little money because these guys are charging for that water anyway. Like, if we go up on our costs, it's just like everything else is being tariffed to us now.
They're gonna send it to the.
They're gonna send it to the end user. The end user's gonna have to pay the difference.
Which is,
Whoever buys the water on the field.
And remember, these people are not
Won't
in the
be open.
district. We are not in the district. We're selling the water to the outside of the district. So people in our district should be the ones getting the benefits.
I agree. I think these are good prices. I mean, we may lose a few customers over it, but I doubt it. They gotta have water somewhere.
And
Midland's not gonna be any better than we are.
there's a few companies that were asking me about these, and I told them what was changing. They said, hey, that's still better than
What they can get it elsewhere.
elsewhere.
Yeah.
So,
anybody else got any input?
I just want to make sure there's some discussion so that if anybody came and brought us their meters,
That's fine.
then somebody else is doing it.
yes.
Somebody else
I'm
will.
pretty sure y'all have somebody else waiting in line to bring a meter.
Yeah, did you collect those other 4 you was looking for the other day?
Pardon me?
Did you find those 4 you was looking for the other day?
I haven't even gotten back the certified deal from the mail.
Okay, is that for vote? All in favor?
So two-thirds of it's tabled and 1/3 passes.
Yeah.
I have to say it out loud so I understand what the hell we just did.
Who seconded that?
And for, just to confirm, for the new water connection information that the committee presented, are y'all wanting that for next month's, agenda? Or do you want to hold that till, early next year?
No, I say next month.
Yes, next month.
We need to plan.
Okay, just check. Okay.
Okay. Agenda item 5 is discuss, review, and take action to address multifamily residence meter requirements.
What, you put them before? Okay.
Real quick, Director Kelly, real quick. Debbie, didn't you need to talk about any policies for delinquent accounts under this item?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, there's in your packages.
Okay.
Thank you, in your packages, if you will look and you will see that there are, maybe like 4 sheets that passed one, and it says agenda item number 4.
1 through 28.
It should come to an account, page that looks like this.
Would you like to have it in?
I mean, if I,
I think so. And these are some actual customers that we need some direction from the board on. So John has prepared these because he has had, or his staff has had direct communication with these individuals. And so we will be addressing these individuals by customer number 1, or customer number 2, or customer number 3, or
I
4.
think he's got A, B, C, doesn't he?
Customer
Oh,
one.
okay, 1. I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That's okay.
There's
So,
customer one.
so they were,
And Debbie, before y'all dive into the first customer, can you just briefly go over with the board what the current policy is? Again, typically I would see, the policy related to delinquent accounts spelled out in the rate order, but y'all don't have specific policies in your rate order. So do you have a specific policy on file for how y'all deal with delinquent customers?
yeah, it was kind of outlined in the general manager report, but I'll just defer that to John so that he can kind of go through when they do the delinquent letters, when the cutoff time is with ABR and that.
And then is there a reason why these, and then once he does that, will you go over why these 5 are different or not being handled per that policy?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
So we have 5 of them. The ones that pertain to this particular one are gonna be 1, 2, 3, and 5. Number 4 is for the next. So nothing's changed in the delinquent policy other than you guys decided on the board to give us a budget for leak adjustments of $25,000. Now that started with the fiscal year, so October. So we've used that. And so now when someone has a leak and they call and say, what do I do? How do we handle this?
explain that first, John.
Yeah.
I mean, the budget, you allowed $25,000. And where's that money used?
To adjust, so what the prior board had a leak adjustment policy.
How much money we're losing, basically?
Yes. And so I was given, the direction I was given was that now I have $25,000 to use. And so we've used that
And exhausted it.
from October till now. So when we have delinquent accounts, these are the individuals that we selected that had a leak. But that we don't have a policy for now that there's not a leak adjustment or that it's capped. We brought these before you guys to see what you want to do with them. Do you want to give them a leak adjustment? Do you want to do a deferred payment plan? How do you want to address them? So what we tried to do was give you as much information as we would, starting on customer 1, These are all leaks, right? With the exception of number 4.
Except for number 4.
Okay, so.
Okay,
Did you?
so customer number 1, did the customer fulfill the obligation of the payment plan for their original leak or this leak?
So when we talk about that one, that was that was a payment plan that they fulfilled when we initially started cutoffs in 22.
Okay,
So they were
so, and now they've had a leak
correct.
for excessive water usage for 1541, but they have not provided a leak proof of repair.
So actually that 1541, that's your cost.
Right, that's our
Yes,
cost.
sir.
So we would lose $1,541 if we wiped this off.
Yes, sir.
But they provided no receipts for leak repair, cost of repair, or anything.
No, sir.
Then that goes above our policy because I had a leak in my house and I have to provide that information. If you don't provide that information, then you don't get help with the leak. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
Because it's like saying, well, I was in a car wreck and it wasn't my fault. your insurance is gonna want proof. Yes?
What's to say that they actually didn't use that water
Yeah,
and just.
or fill up a damn,
Swimming pool.
swimming pool or their neighbor's tote.
I've had several leaks that I just repaired. And I
But did you
know-
ask for a?
I didn't know it was available.
Yeah,
I just did. Well,
well, they know that it's available now and they're all asking for it, but what, if they haven't shown a repair? I still think we have to either show us the repair, show us that you did what you said you did. Or don't ask for any help. I'm sorry, because I would hold myself to the same responsibilities. I have to show, I have pictures, everything of the leak, of what it cost me to repair it, the parts, everything. And I have no problem asking somebody else to be accountable for that. I really don't. I don't think we give them any more grace there.
So what are you saying? They have to pay, they have to at least pay the cost?
No, they have to pay it all, or they show us
They gotta pay the 5,000?
yeah, if they don't show us that they made the repairs. Because they don't even prove it's a leak. And that's all that this is covering is damages, leaks. It's not covering, oh, my neighbor come over here when we were out of town and filled up his tote. Sorry. That's not our fault.
So what do you do? Cut them off?
Cut them off or they pay. They're gonna have to pay it. They've got a $300,000 house out here. They're gonna pay that bill.
Well, if they got a $300,000 house, but if they don't, then what?
But this one does, has a $300,000 house. 260, what was it?
236.
236. $250,000 house. I mean, let them make a payment plan for the 5,000 or bring in the repairs and then we can adjust it from there.
Is that the one you said, Debbie, that was on somebody else's property? The line, the leak was on the other person's property?
Yes, sir.
So
They told me that they had.
it never showed, it never showed
They
up.
never brought it. Yeah, this is the lady that called me. And I said, did you repair the leak? Do you have, yeah, I have receipts. She says she has receipts. If she's got receipts, she needs to show 'em. I'll talk to her personally if you want me to.
We need to do these on an individual basis.
Unless you guys want to make a
Well, no,
policy change or say, hey.
no, the easiest way is if they bring receipts and show that they did repair it.
Then we work with
We
them.
work with them.
But if they don't,
Until they bring receipts,
cut them off.
We'll have to specify what kind of receipts.
Receipts for parts.
Correct.
But the original policy said a picture or a plumber's, write up like Tommy would do on. You go out and say what you did. There was a leak here. The line shattered, whatever. It was run over by a tractor. And we repaired it. This is the parts we used just to prove that there was a true leak and not somebody jacking water and not wanting to pay for it or filling up a pool. You know?
Is there gonna be a receipt for a $1 coupling or a 90?
You know, it's kind of,
if that's all that broke, you took a picture and said, hey, it's repaired. And yeah, I mean, some of these leaks aren't much other than.
this one, because it was on somebody else's property, was substantial. But, yes, ma'am.
So as John stated, the reason we're having to bring these to you is because the budget that was approved gave him a dollar amount in which he would have latitude based on our policy to be able to give these individuals a discount because of a leak. The problem is we have already exhausted the 25,000. So I'm fixing.
No, that's what you're asking.
So the way to handle these is for the board to make a adjustment to the budget to increase that dollar amount. You tell me what you want it increased to. And it can be 5,000, 10,000. And then if we exhaust that fund, then we come back and we will continue to try to work with your constituents, the customers. Continue to ask for the receipts as we have in the past. Make sure we have pictures of before and after and work with the customers as we've been doing for years.
And,
The issue is that before there really wasn't a set dollar. We just kept spending and spending. And this last budget, I put in a dollar cap to try to keep us to mitigate that dollar of having to write off fund and water.
I'm a little confused. We're not really spending anything, we're just not receiving it.
Right.
Well, we are, but you are spending money. This particular number, customer number one, cost the district $1,541.
I understand that.
So it did cost us money.
Cause they pulled out of that budget.
That, okay, but we didn't take that money and give it to nothing.
No.
It's
No, I just had to
it's
pay the
just
city of
you come
Odessa.
up with an arbitrary figure for the bud, from the budget to compensate for, water losses or non-payment of water or whatever. And that's just $1,541.93 that we didn't collect, that we're going in the hole.
Correct. So we.
I mean, I understand that part of it is just the way it's stated. That register with me, it doesn't make sense, but.
so, okay, so my question is, $25,000 is a pretty good chunk of money. How many customers have leaks? I mean, to spend
I don't know.
$2,500 in leaks, that's
Well,
a lot of money.
There's
It's a lot of leaks.
So
There's a significant amount of customers.
So right,
The infrastructure in Odessa is terrible. The infrastructure of customers' land is even worse.
And we're not just talking to lakes, we're talking to Lakeland County. So
No, sir.
No, it's just-
That's only the
strictly lakes.
Yes, sir.
And it has to be something verifiable.
so John, you said that you get alerts when you see unnecessary or like high volume.
So out of 6,000 customers, that's very tall order to be able to track.
Is there any way that
I get it personally. That's how I knew I had a leak. I have eye on water,
Tile water,
Yeah.
okay.
and if it
So
uses more than 1,000,
and that's what I tell these people is, hey, get on this now.
That's
And it-
part of
yeah,
the
and
policy.
that's part of the policy. If they're not on eye on water, they have to have eye on water so they can keep track of that.
And
And I do all the time.
In my opinion, that takes way too long to notify you.
It
I
does.
don't like emails, I need text.
It does. I agree with that 100%, but it's something, it's a start. And this lady, had she been on eye on water, she would have known way before now.
Now should only owe 2,000 instead
Is
of
it,
5.
it's not,
This is the one that called me.
is this the teacher, the mother?
No.
No,
Okay.
no.
And, okay, so for how many years have we had this budget approved? Is it this is the first time, this is the first year?
Yeah.
It's the first time that because before that, Mr. Sanchez, there really wasn't a line item showing the board how much they were
Losing.
writing
But y'all
off.
were still doing it, right? Y'all
Oh,
still
yeah,
have-
it's been a policy for as long as I was here and probably for as long as John was here. So it's been a policy to do that forever. The difference is that there's a dollar amount and there was a cap given to staff
Okay.
by the board.
But there's,
And so we have now.
Like in previous years, when you didn't have a cap, how much would you ended up spending per year?
Little over,
if they fall,
How much
little over 100,000.
per year?
That's it. And how did the number?
but that is requiring, and let me, they have to be on eye on water. They have to have the proof of repair. We set those parameters. Correct? Yes or no?
We can suggest, we can't force them to do anything.
Okay,
Make
but
sure they're on-
wasn't that to get the discount, they had to be involved in those three things? Eye on water, you have to have eye on water, you can't, we don't have to do this, she didn't have eye on water, she doesn't have any proof of repair. I'm sorry, you have some responsibility for that, even though the water line is on somebody else's land, which, that's between you and that homeowner.
So the question here is, do we increase the budget?
If you can.
So, yes. Yes.
Under this circumstance, I say no.
Well,
Well,
What are the other
we'll treat this one She hasn't given us any receipts, we're not
Yeah, yeah.
gonna adjust her late.
Okay,
We'll get
so,
her receipts, because that's the policy.
okay.
What we need is
Is it,
keep from bringing these to the board every single month. I need a line item adjustment to the budget.
to the budget?
Okay.
Okay.
Budget, so
According
that
to
we,
these numbers, we
The
spent,
policy's still the same.
yes,
They just need an increase in the budget.
yes.
okay,
Or
according
you're
to
gonna
these
have to
numbers,
remove
we
the-
spent $25,000 quarterly.
For me,
We spent $25,000 quarterly. We're in the first quarter of the year, we already spent $25,000. So what I suggest we do, instead of approving a budget for the full year,
Approve another quarter.
approve another quarter.
well, if you.
And we'll
let's
go
just say you
quarter at a
give me-
time.
Give me $10,000 or $15,000, what do you, I mean, you set the parameter. I can guarantee you, I'm gonna be back here asking for more money again. So it can't go above what you give us.
I'm all for it,
I-
like you,
I'm
I
a big old-
make a motion, we approve a $25,000 increase in this budget line item. So it gets us through one more quarter and we see where we are from there. But I mean, staff seems to be handling these. They're not gonna give, well, that's all I was.
But also,
That's a discount.
I agree with you, there's people that should be disqualified.
Yeah,
Like,
if they don't pass the
As long as the
qualifications,
policy's still in
Yeah.
effect.
as long as the policy's in effect.
Is, and anything else is other than approving the increase in the budget is all they're asking for, so.
Or we're gonna have to do this every single month.
Where are they at on, are they locked out?
No, sir, they expired, they turned on 5/1, so they should have been.
We should have turned them
And I
off.
told her that I was gonna come before the board with this and get a decision.
How long they been on since first of the month?
They should have been locked out on 5/1. Now this customer has, made payments. So I did appreciate that from them. A payment of $500 was made on April 1st. Don't have records. I don't know if they put one in since the first, but once this was made around the first day, that was the payment that they had made.
Is that the most expensive one?
when was the first time they have noticed that they need to show the receipt? On the wall that,
This customer here,
yes.
this customer wasn't alerted to that because that policy had expired with the 25,000. So if you guys do approve that, I'll get that from them and I'll square them away.
She was aware of that because when she called me originally, I told her, do you have on water? Do you have receipts? Make sure you take pictures, all those things. And then I directed her to staff. So she was aware that she needed that stuff.
And she hadn't done anything
Not,
correct?
I don't think she's done anything yet to correct it. She may have it all and be waiting on us, Joan. I'm not sure. But at this point in time that, you know, I don't have a lot of sympathy for her because she doesn't do what we've asked her to do.
What about the rest of them? Are they trying to pay us?
On number two, this was one that had emailed Director Condo.
It's 10.
So this is
Not the panel.
this is she's a elderly woman, that's correct, and her daughter's the one that. So this here, she does, did they present any?
No, certainly only because I didn't walk them through those steps.
Okay. And I told her that we would talk about this because I didn't know that we were budget short and all that, so, she said she had receipts. She said she had everything. She just didn't know what the process was gonna be.
Sure.
So by us approving the increase in the budget, fix this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And what we'll do is, of course, everything we do, the leak adjustment, it works out to where you recover your cost. So the on the bottom, you will get.
We won't lose money.
Gain it, we're not making it.
Correct.
Okay, so we're addressing the first three. You'll discuss four after we increase the budget or no?
And forgive me,
The one that will, after we increase the budget, the one we'll discuss is 1725 West 23rd Street. Okay, so that's number 4. So I hereby make a motion that we increase the budget line item by $25,000 to cover us at least another quarter. And then we revisit it then to make sure that we're staying on point with what we're expecting of staff. That's it.
Any discussion?
You good?
Okay. All in favor? No. Okay. We're gonna talk about the others, since
The 4, number 4.
we should have talked about it before we got to the agenda. But go ahead.
So number 4 did have a leak. They do dispute that. But the main thing that they're disputing is their classification.
Like what?
Their classification. So this particular lot of land, I've provided the map with you so you can see it. There's 3 homes on this lot. There's 1 meter serving all 3 homes. Now, the board had me go through and start auditing the field, looking for homes sharing 1 meter, so that we're not going up against the TCEQ regulatory guidance of the 1 meter per residence requirements that they have. I've included that for you guys to approve as well.
Yeah.
When we find these in the field and we can verify them, then we change them. And we change them to a commercial rate. Now, prior to that, this customer set at the senior rate. And so they got significant amounts of water for very little. They were changed, and so they're upset about that they were changed. So I wanted to bring this before the board to see if that's a policy that you want us to continue with, the field audits, to make sure that we won't, doing our best to make sure that we've got 1 meter per household so that we don't run afoul of TCEQ. I think this is the only way. I mean, that's a TCEQ rule.
Yes.
We're governed by TCEQ. We have to follow TCEQ rules.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a discussion there. You're doing the right thing. Yes. If they don't like it, they can put in 4 meter. Cut and dry.
Okay, since that's not an agenda item, Johanna,
It's number
you,
5.
huh?
It's number 5.
We just voted on it. That's what I'm saying.
No.
What did we vote on?
Number 4.
I just want to remind you, you can have multiple motions in one agenda item.
Number 4.
Yes, so we're still under number 4. We're just dealing with customer number 4 related to this agenda
Number
item.
5, okay.
Okay, so that's falling under the delinquent accounts.
So I make a
Yeah,
motion,
we're still under, policies for delinquent accounts.
that we approve, to maintain TCEQ rules at 1 residence per meter and keep that process going forward.
Okay.
2 seconds.
You saying it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and review process for approving district invoices and internal financial procedures.
Mr. Kelly, what about number 5? The multi-family residence.
That's what we just voted
I
on.
messed up, that's what I thought, we'd already done all that.
And Nicole, the prior one was number 5. It was a multifamily. Was for the meters.
I'm sorry, Debbie. Debbie, I can't hear you. There's so much background noise.
Yeah,
I thought number 5 was, you put Debbie on.
yeah, no, it was a multi-family one. Number 5 was. That's the one we just voted on.
Okay, so that was just related to customer 4.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, yeah. It doesn't, we don't have to have specific agenda items for every customer, but yeah, okay, I'll put that motion.
All right, are we ready to move on to agenda 6?
Yes, sir.
Discuss and review process for approving district invoice and internal financial procedures related to the same. We have one comment from the public, Tommy Earl.
Thank you, John. And again, thank you for helping. There are other options. But here it go again. Nicole get another gold star and attaboy by moving these two procedures to her firm. That's what I believe. It's her focus. This board has 100% control today. I can't believe y'all would consider moving these. If any of y'all come to the office, again, I'm saying this, and actually look and see what's going on, so y'all are educated about what's happening here. I ask y'all, please, please get more involved about what's going on. Thank you.
Okay.
I know in the past, and this is the one thing that I had an issue with, like the first lawyer, or the other lawyer, he called me and was talking to me, and I didn't realize we were being charged, but did that conversation. Yeah, I was made to approve that. Yes, that happened. And I still think that's something that we need to do. You know, whoever approved that charge, approve that bill. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what Jesus has done. I don't know what Daryl's done. I don't know what John's done. I know what Troy did.
Yes.
And Demetrio knows what Demetrio did. And Pancho Villa knows what Pancho Villa did. You know what I mean? I still think we need to go back to approving each individual item. Like I saw Nicole's bill, and no offense, Nicole, but every lawyer that we've dealt with in the past, and I've been married 5 times, so I've had several lawyers to deal with. There's line items. I talked to X person at this time, that her bill's not broken down that way. That scares the shit out of me. It's just a $10,000 blank bill.
I can certainly, I mean, it should have had all the details in it, but if y'all want it per day and the time, I can certainly break it down like.
Okay, I personally would appreciate that, because if you and I talk, I don't mind being responsible for that, but I wanna know, yes, I can look back at my phone and go, yes, I talked to her from this minute to this minute or whatever. Because I mean, I was that way with Randy. I didn't like the way he charged, but I didn't have a lot of choice there, and so, well,
Oh, no, I can certainly change the format. I didn't, when y'all looked at our first invoice last month, I didn't know there was an issue with the format, so I can certainly update the format for, invoices going forward.
well, and I think that goes for all of our vendors. I mean, whoever approved that charge needs to be the one that approves the bill. Now, if it comes to the board after that, that would be fine, whatever y'all decide there. But I think the person that initiated the charge needs to approve it before it goes anywhere else.
Maybe, but that's the problem. The rest of the board's not getting to see everything that's being paid for and being received. I got plenty of information out of the first invoice. And if you want to pay her more to sit there and line item it, that's fine. But I got enough information from her. And I don't know why, as far as I know, she hasn't been paid for the first invoice, and we're ready to get another invoice. Okay, but why has she been notified that Jesus wanted it line item or more?
I was told to, you speak up, Jesus.
As I saw this and, hello, Nicole. I'm behind to you. But, the way it was written is just a paragraph stating everything that you did throughout the month. And,
Yeah, and again,
I would like to see it,
yeah, that's.
like, choice that a breakdown,
Like,
how much you charge per call, or, who to talk to, how much you charge per emails, whose emails was those, how many times, all this stuff, you know? So we can see exactly what we're paying for.
But in the process,
Understood. So
you're fixing the problem.
most of the detailed description, it would have said, email correspondence with Director Kelly, phone calls with Director Kelly. It should have all said, who I was speaking to and who I was corresponding with.
Yeah, and how much it cost, and also how much it costs every time you,
Format.
what I mean is how much it costs every time you answer to Mr. Kelly, or how much it costs every time you talk to any of us on the phone. It's
Sure, I can
it'd be
certainly
more
go
specific, it's more.
Is it going to be more expensive to us, Nicole, to have you break the bill down that way?
No, sir. How I enter it I enter it per day and per time.
Okay,
It's a formatting system on our invoices. We have 3 different styles. There can also be different, we can also have a completely modified style. But there are 3 normal styles for our invoices. I would say majority of the board likes just the big paragraph and then the bottom line, you know, if it was 10 hours a month. That's how most of the districts like it. I will say we have a few that they want to see, you know, on March 5th, it was 1 hour, March 7th, it was 0.25 hours, et cetera. So I can certainly change y'all's format going forward, that y'all can see every single day, what I did per that day and how much time was allocated for each of those, duties on each day.
is there any way to redo that first invoice so we can get you paid?
Okay, so her check is.
Oh, wait a
um,
minute, wait.
wait,
I'm not gonna make her go back and redo that first invoice.
Okay.
We all went along with it. We was
I
already
think I can
accused,
clear
of me
this.
and Daryl being the one that brought up most of the expenses. And I'm not contesting any of them. The lady needs to get paid. Now, if we wanna do that on this next one, let's do it. Fine, let her itemize it out, let's do it. But we don't put this crap off on the rest of our vendors like we're doing to Nicole. I mean, I signed a $7,800 check the other day for spraying weeds out here, and I don't know what that is, where it's at. It had the addresses, but is that sufficient? How do I know he went out there and did that? I mean, we can drag this
Well,
on. from that
Demetrius
on.
should have approved that.
Yeah, you did.
Well, that's another thing. I've seen invoices where it just had their signature. Do we not use POs?
Not always.
Well, you know,
I mean, if I've initiated the charge, I agree. I will be the one to approve. Yes, I'll go double check it, and make sure it's done.
it shouldn't be solely your responsibility. The rest of us need to know where we're at.
Oh,
and
I
what's going
understand that,
on.
John, but that individual charge, before it comes to this board, needs to be approved by whoever asked for it, in my opinion, because that's the way it works in my company. When my guys pick up something at a supply house, they sign. I got these materials for this job. And I have proof that that's what they used it for. You know, I mean, that's just business. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. I'll stand my ground there. I'm never gonna sign a bill for $10,000 that doesn't have a breakdown of what was done, where it was done at. If I've got a problem with it, I'll go out there and look.
Okay, we waited a month. Why hasn't that been presented to this board?
I think it was presented to the board when I was not here.
It was never presented to Miss Nicole here.
I
I
think
talked
it
to
was,
her today and this is the first time she's heard anything.
I think it was a miscommunication, because I do remember talking about this,
Thank you.
and, I mean,
it was
just,
misconstrued.
yes, so I'm in agreement, just so we can move on, is that we're not going back to the list. But going forward, yes, everything, Nicole, the way that they, you know, just a breakdown of it. Even better,
Her
Well,
invoice is here. Her invoice and her check is here to be approved.
She was under the impression it got approved last month.
The,
On
the April, or the March invoice that was presented at the April meeting.
Because we was dragging it through the mud quite a bit on arguing over things, so.
can we approve it and you send us a breakdown for that one?
It's here, the check is
So-
cut.
But it's not broke down.
It's not broken
No,
down.
it's not broke down, but I mean,
That's what he's asking. If
It
we
was
approve it right now, can she break it down?
yeah, and that's fine, but it wasn't paid because it wasn't approved. Even you wouldn't approve it when we actually had cut the
Correct.
check. And so I can't force anybody to approve it, and I can't force someone to sign the
Okay.
check.
Is it solely Jesus' job to say, no, I don't approve this?
When only one person's coming in at a time to sign the checks and they're not all presented at the.
The rest of us should have been informed on it, Debbie.
You were at the last meeting, John.
No, I was not informed that you wasn't approving that invoice.
Yes,
No, because
No,
I saw
yes,
this
sir,
check.
you
no,
were.
I was not.
Debbie, Debbie, I saw this check after last meeting. I haven't seen that check before last meeting, so no, he wasn't informed. If you probably emailed him or called him to tell him
Yes.
about it, but I saw this check after last meeting, so
This
Mentioned about
invoice,
breakdown.
this
You
invoice
remember
was
you
sent.
mentioned about breakdown.
Yes.
I did discuss, I
Yes.
think there was a breakdown in communication.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a total snafu, but I'm just not gonna sign $10 check like that.
Yes, no. And I agree. So going forward, we all agree, we'd like to break down. And this is not just going for her.
It's all of our
It's
vendors.
all of it.
Yeah, it has to be approved by whoever initiated the
He
purchase.
wasn't, that check was not the only one I just signed. I just signed another check that was a breakdown on, and I sent it back.
There's another nice, check, so. But,
But, it has to be like that from now on. We need to know what we're paying for.
but the rest of us need to be informed,
Correct.
and not a week later, not 2 weeks later. We need to be informed right then.
Because this is the district.
And I think
doesn't
that's
have
your
deep pockets.
job, Debbie, to let us know. I had no idea, knowing that he declined it because of the way it's written. I mean, how am I gonna find out? If Daryl,
He asked for it to be brought to this board meeting.
it should have been brought to the board,
It should have.
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but he was out of
It's
town.
just like we argued last month. Well, we can't sign a check all at the board meeting because some of them are past due and some of them, well, this lady's may be past due by now too,
Well,
but nobody give a darn about that. And I'm saying we picking and choosing in this boardroom.
no, sir. I'm not.
Well, I'm not pointing fingers. I
Okay.
think there's some in here that pick
Well,
and choose.
and that may be the case, but I do have an issue with the way that's done business wise, is all I'm saying. And it doesn't matter if it was Morrison Supply or Sims Plastic or whoever. I would have the same issue if I got a blank bill with a total.
I'm not arguing with
If
that.
I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken, we agreed last meeting, we were gonna sign once a month checks.
Well,
And it had to be approved at the meeting.
our keep from
So
being
I don't know what's the late feel right now.
Or to keep from being delinquent.
Well,
So
right.
somebody.
Part of it's fact.
And we were all supposed to be
Signed.
signers
So,
too.
so again.
Man, you had come up here 3 times last month, signed check.
Okay, so everybody in agreement.
Are you the mediator?
No, but we're spending too much time on this. Somebody's happy. Anyway, what's gonna make us all happy? Everybody break down, itemize on everything.
How long would it take you to optimize the bill, Nicole?
So let me interject. There's been a lot of conversation. I'm trying to make sure I hear everything so I don't miss something. So for the first invoice that went out, which would have been March services that was sent out to the board on April 1st, and to my knowledge, all the board members saw that. It was my understanding that that was presented to the board at the April meeting and was approved. I have no recollection of anyone saying that they needed it in a different format. So then the next invoice that was sent out for April work that I would have thought would have been in your packet for today's meeting, but I don't know it is. That is still in the same format. And just so everyone is clear, y'all have seen the invoice. It does not just say a dollar amount. There is a description detailing every single thing I did for the month. I do not know if I can fix the first 2 invoices, but I will look into that and check with our bookkeeper tomorrow. But I know I can fix all invoices going forward, that they are broken out by day and by, my time or any paralegal time or legal assistance time, and how much time is allocated to each task that's done. But I do not know if I can fix March and April's invoices, but I will look into that. So that's one piece of it. The other piece, and which was the main reason that this item's been on last month and this month, is that, to my knowledge, y'all do not get a stack of checks and invoices at your meeting. And to me, that is very outside of the norm. Typically, all of our boards get a monthly bookkeeping report that details all of their accounts, and they see a stack of invoices that are presented to the board for approval. And the board reviews those invoices and signs the checks, and then the checks are sent out the following day after board approval. We do not have any districts that we work with that throughout the month, directors are coming in and signing checks, because each of you individually are one vote. And so none of these invoices that y'all are signing and sending out prior to the meeting, none of them have been approved by the board. So that's why this agenda item is in place. And to go back on other comments, my firm, we do not do any bookkeeping. So there's nothing that my firm would be getting as far as bookkeeping. And to clarify, the only reason the engagement of a new district bookkeeper is on the agenda is because the board requested it be, and the board requested that I, obtain bookkeeping proposals from outside bookkeepers. But my firm is not a bookkeeping firm or company. So again, I can fix invoices, our specific invoices going forward. I will look into the past invoices to see if I can get those updated and resent out to the board. But this is the first I'm hearing that there was an issue, and that was holding up the first payment or check. But the main issue is we've got to figure out a process for y'all's district invoices. Because it cannot be that y'all just come throughout the month signing checks and nobody knows who signed what checks or what checks have been approved. Y'all have to have a monthly report, which is basically, I would have anticipated for this month, you'd be receiving a month ending report as of April 30th. And then you would have all the checks presented to y'all for approval and payment, and then they would be distributed out. So that is the process that the board has to discuss.
Okay. Well, another thing we need to bring up too, we discussed last month that all of us should be on the signatures. Nobody's presented anything about that. Have you talked to the bank, Dave?
So in order to add Troy and Daryl to the signature cards, there has to be a motion made, and it has to be in the minutes so that we can take that, and then there has to be a letter drafted to take down to the bank. And then not only will they have to go, Mr. Kelly, but you and Mr. Sanchez will also have to go again and sign all the signature, and re-sign all the signature cards. So there has to be a motion, it has to be in the minutes, then we'll draft a letter, you'll have to come in and sign it, and then we'll send it down to Prosperity Bank, and then all four of you can be put on the signature card.
Well, haven't we informed you this last month?
Debbie, I presume they need a board resolution to that effect?
Yes,
Or
ma'am.
do you have a resolution?
I mean, we have one that we can do. We can do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we can go ahead and make a motion on that without having an agenda item,
Yes.
Nicole?
I mean, that would be covered under 6.
It would be covered. You could do it under this
Yes,
one.
to make a motion that allows to add all board members to the signature cards on all accounts,
Okay.
or whichever accounts the board chooses.
Okay. So back to the invoices and the internal financing stuff. You work with QuickBooks is what we're using?
Yes, I
Okay. So as far as having a list of invoices and what we paid for them and stuff,
This are gonna be for approval. This.
is that with the checks?
Yes, sir.
But that's just what's due. That's not everything we've done this month. We've signed. Have you got another?
We have all
deal
of
for that?
this, and you have it in your package as well.
But those have already been,
Yeah, this one's already been paid.
they've already been, signed, the checks and
Yes.
everything. That's just showing
Exactly.
what we have.
Mhm.
Okay.
And this is what needs to
I didn't
be.
sign maybe 12 checks. That looks like more than,
Signatures right here.
well, number one, we need to keep it as simple. And since you're probably the closest thing to a bookkeeper we got, if you're not one, but, keep it short and sweet. Copy of the invoice, well, maybe not a copy of the invoice, but a check register, at least so we know what we paid.
It's in your package.
Yeah, we get that.
I'm just running through what,
Oh, sorry.
well, some of that is stuff that, to me, it was confusing. We had the audit, the budget, what we actually had budgeted.
Yeah,
what we
budget
had.
costs, and then the check register is what I always went through and was looking at to see if anything was odd or stood out to me. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So I'm not. But here's the check detail right there.
But I know Debbie said, you know, we could always come up here and ask and look at anything we don't want. And I understand that's possible. My standpoint is, why should we have to? Let's get it in here at a board meeting, we look at it. We don't have to bother y'all up here unless it's something that you need us to come sign or whatever. And be done with it. Sign the checks every month. We can approve. If we've got questions, we're already here. If I got a question on one I'm signing, I can only say something to one of the board members about it. You know, I can't say anything to the other two because it's taking care of board business. We take care of it here in the meeting. You know, everybody's aware of what's going on, and I think that's what we need to aim for.
Some checks that we signed, before electricity or, other services, water, water, exactly, I can wait for till the meeting so we can approve them. But some of these other checks that we signed for, like for the maintenance on the trucks and other stuff that need to be paid right away. So those checks can't wait till the next meeting to get approved. So we need to decide how we're gonna do
Well, that's the
those
reason,
checks.
well, that's the reason that we want to do, all of us can sign. Because there will be those unique situations where you might not be able, you might not be here. One of us is here. And if it's something questionable, then we'll, Don, you're the president, so we'll get a hold of you somehow and make you aware of it.
Well, and we still, even on a $10 invoice, you know, everybody needs to know what's going on. So,
I would like, I mean, eventually I would like to see. Yeah, you got the breakdown, but where everything went, check number that went to it.
well, Johanna's got a whole stack of paperwork here in front of her. We'll see how this month goes.
This is just to see if you guys have any questions on any of the checks that are on the check register. I have all the invoices here, just for you.
And if you have any questions on any of the check details, because this is our total checks that are written this month, everything, I'll just keep them there.
So I have a comment. So Nicole, based on what Jesus is saying, the objective that you're trying to obtain is not going to be attainable because what you're requesting is.
Nope,
So I would suggest.
does not sound like anything.
No, ma'am. And so I think it needs to be like you and I had discussed, is the board is gonna have to set a dollar amount that the board will approve for the board members, whose signatures to come sign off on for those particular items that have to be paid upon receipt of the invoice. So then that step can move forward. So that is what I would suggest to you and the board to do.
Well,
Yeah, there either needs to be some sort of dollar amount that's pre-approved by the board, or y'all have a second bill pay meeting for these invoices, but it's just, it does not work with just two board members just coming on a random Tuesday, signing 3 checks, because then the checks go out and no board has approved it.
So what dollar figure do you recommend? Do y'all have?
That's up to y'all. I don't know your vendors well
Y'all
enough
need
to
to make an
know,
estimate.
Okay, do you have an estimation that you
Of
can help us
how
with?
much, how much we spend on truck maintenance and unexpected.
I would recommend that the board make before the board was using $10,000. If it was $10,000 or below, then the board
Could have
Okay.
2 signatures.
would have 2 signatures and it could be approved. And that's the way that it was.
how much?
So
10,000.
it was 10, so if you don't want,
Per month. Per month.
no, per check.
Per check.
Per check.
Per check.
So if that's too much, make it 5. Whatever y'all feel comfortable with allowing 2 of you to sign.
I suggest like we have a budget for the leak. We have a budget for maintenance. Or for,
We
it has to be, or for,
we
has
do.
to- for whatever has to be paid upon the services received. And, we approve that, just that amount to make checks. And if it's topped off, we need to warn.
Well, but that's what we did when we approved the budget. I mean, it wasn't you guys, but we approved the budget that was set out in front of us. So we've honestly already done that.
Already approved the whole budget.
I don't,
And you got it every month in the budget to act
And where we're at.
I don't want.
prior to that. But, I mean, y'all do whatever you want to do, so.
Johanna knows what is on receipt and what's,
Yeah.
and let's just try and keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
Where we ain't running up here twice a week, once a week,
Well,
whatever. it
and
is.
what'll help is the four of us be on there together too. That way, shit, Daryl and I don't live very far from here.
Yeah.
Probably closest.
I think we're all closest.
Well, I mean, And again-
John was way.
and again, after last month's meeting, I am the one, because I'm on the checking. The fire board had allowed me to sign checks up to $1 amount. And then you got all of this to look at the end of every month and no, I mean, it was, the board would come up and sign at board or before the board when they had work sessions. That's the way that it was. I don't need to do that. You can do it all yourselves. So, but I mean, that's when no one really had to come up.
Now we come to sign the case of that.
Huh?
After we had that discussion that we had to approve the checks.
Then she didn't want to
she-
sign
she-
it,
she's
and I
not
don't
doing it,
blame
but
her.
that's why we're signing.
Yeah, but that's what
That's
it's
what we have to
need
discuss.
one other, it doesn't need to be more than one of us.
Well, it is now, but now it's gonna be four of us if we come up with this resolution.
Why can't Debbie continue to sign?
Well,
That's
it's up to you,
That's
it's
up
up
to
to us.
y'all. I
As
mean,
long as
I mean,
one-
I can be one of the signatures and one of y'all can be one of the signatures.
If that's
But
okay with y'all.
before, up to $1 amount, I signed, the board approved me to sign, like utility bills. And there was $1 amount, and none of you had to come up.
None of us have to come.
No, and that's the way it was before. But I understand there's a trust factor. And so.
It's not, it's so.
Let me
and so-
correct
and
you on
so-
that.
So I,
It's not necessarily a
so
trust factor. We just want to know what's going on.
sure,
And we're out here in the dark and we don't know what's coming in and what's going out.
and so if you want, however y'all want to do it, I mean, you get the copies of the checks, here's the checks, the invoices, you get to register in your package.
I did when,
So it's however y'all.
when
want to
something
go
changed,
forward.
just for y'all's information, this is what I've done in the past. When we had a change on the board and something happened, I just took this and I went over here and I asked Debbie, can I see the real checkbook with this? And I checked it and everything was exactly right. And I did that 3 times just to see how accurate it was. Because she's on top of it, she'll tell you real quick, yes, this check was this and this check is not here because the bank made an error or the customer lost it. She knows where every damn check. And I have a lot of faith in Johanna that this, for one, is super accurate. But a lot of times I, as a board member, haven't been paying close enough attention. That's the reason I'm taking this stuff home. And when I get the board package, I look at it beforehand and is there anything that stands out that I need to, that would set off a red flag for me? But at any point in time, you can ask her how accurate this is.
And
She'll
like
show you.
John said, it's not a trust issue. I mean, we ran on transparency and accountability.
Well, I
So
understand.
that's all that we're trying to get out of this. So by,
However y'all.
we're talking about letting Debbie sign that one of us signs where it doesn't have to be 2 of us. Where
Right.
I'm all for that because, I mean,
You gotta trust somebody.
yes.
No, you don't.
I trust the Lord Jesus Christ.
So,
Is that the Old Testament or the New Testament?
all right, we need to move on.
No.
But
So we
you
make
think
a
you can do that for us? I mean, keep it simple,
Yes,
keep it.
So Nicole, just so you understand, because I don't want, is that there is no dollar amount that's gonna be approved. So what your objective is to try to get this board to do what your other board's doing is still not attained.
And again, I can only advise, at the end of the day, it's the board's discretion. So y'all are moving forward with putting all directors on the account and having checks signed throughout the month with Debbie and one other signature. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
But before we go on, do you agree to sign that check?
Was what?
I'm not on the check registry yet, so I don't have to agree to sign it.
Well, I'm sorry, not to sign it, but do you approve it now?
No, I don't.
You don't approve it?
I don't.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but that's me. That's how I run my business. And I'm not trying to be ugly, but I would never sign that check regardless, even if it costs me more money to get it clarified.
After you look at it, you're not gonna approve it.
No, sir, I don't. I mean, I'm sorry. That's how I run my business. And I'm not trying to bitter, be ugly or fight. It's just,
Are you sure?
yes, turkey. That's just how I run my business. I make sure, because I've had a tool show up.
But if three of us agree.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what I do. Yeah.
But back to the deal. I think you can probably, and I don't know that we have to have that big a stack, but anyhow, the figures and stuff that we want from a month to month basis, I think you can probably handle
Yes,
that.
You're doing a good job. I really appreciate
Yes,
it.
you are.
It's too good. Very efficient, even to the point where we don't even know what she's doing.
Well, I don't know that we actually decided anything on item 6, agenda 6.
Well, we did.
Yes, you
We have to
do.
make the resolution.
You have to do the motion to
I got this one. I make a motion, we make a resolution to add all 4 board members and Debbie to the signature card at the bank. I see. Now, we can
Who
either,
was the one that seconded? I'm sorry.
Daryl?
Thank you.
now we can either make another motion that Debbie is allowed to sign those with one other board approval, or that's the way it's always been, and just keep it status quo. What do you want to do there?
Yeah, I would think it'd be prudent to have it in the minutes that
Okay.
it will be Debbie with one other director.
Okay, then I make a motion for the checks that are necessary, that can't wait till board approval, be signed one by Debbie and by one director.
And that way, if she's out sick, any two of us.
And the 2 of us can sign it with Johanna's discretion. As long as 2 people sign it that are on the signature card.
Okay.
Second.
So Debbie and a director, if Debbie's out, then 2 directors.
Yeah,
Yes,
and with no dollar amount.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
Yes,
if it's gonna be late, we wanna pay it.
All right, so we got a
Vote on that.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Discuss, review, and take action on resolution affirming identity theft, prevention program. I believe that's yours, Nicole.
Yes, so every year you'll have to review this. I sent out the, resolution along with the identity theft prevention program. This is more for, your general manager as far as the internal operations for, certain policies related to the use of consumer reports and address discrepancies and, the detection, prevention, and, mitigation of any identity theft. Y'all are considered a creditor because you provide water supply and you're accepting payment in arrears and you're you consider a utility provider. So you are considered a creditor. Debbie, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that. I mean, do y'all have some sort of, red flag policies in order to ensure that you're protecting your customers, information on identity theft?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so again, if there was no issues with that, program, y'all should make a motion to approve the resolution affirming that y'all have your identity theft prevention program in place.
Okay, and that's what you sent us here in the agenda.
Yes, sir. Agenda item number 7, and it's 45 through 52, 7 pages.
And I have a signature.
I
Okay,
make a motion, we, approve the resolution affirming identity theft protection program.
second. I guess I didn't get you.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Man, getting closer.
Conduct annual review of district's investment policy and take any necessary action.
Again, this is an annual requirement of the board. To my knowledge, per day, I think the last time the board had reviewed the investment policy was in 2019. I looked over the investment policy that Debbie sent over. It looked in line. So all I did was prepare the resolution affirming that y'all have reviewed the investment policy related to the management and investment of your funds that are held in any allowed investment excuse me, for any investment accounts. And all I did also was update Exhibit A to include the financial institutions that were part of that policy that had been approved in November of 2019. And then to confirm, the only investment account y'all have is Techstars.
And be okay. And then we,
Okay.
and, right, those are the only 2 investment, both of those are listed on the exhibit.
On the what?
On the
Yes,
exhibits.
Techstars and Bank of Oklahoma.
Yes, sir, yes, ma'am.
Is the amount on there?
No.
Not on the
Not-
investment policy. It is on the paperwork that we sent yesterday to you.
Yeah.
All your financial stuff.
It's on our financials, but it's not on this.
This is just a policy. It's not a disclosure of how much is invested.
Yeah, and all it is every year the board has to just review their investment policy. Most of our boards have no changes to their investment policy. So instead of doing an entire, doing the entire policy every year, they just do a short resolution saying that they've reviewed it, they affirm that there's no changes, and then they'll continue to operate under the last policy that had been approved. And so that's what this resolution is affirming.
Okay, and if we approve this, is there any reason why we couldn't change it if we wanted to?
So yeah, I mean, if you want to change the investment policy or strategy, or any objectives that are listed in that full policy, you would revisit it next year when y'all review the investment policy. But I mean, if y'all have changes, then I would say to table this and to not do this resolution, and let's discuss and change any things y'all want to change in the actual formal policy. If there's any changes to the strategies or any of the list of qualified brokers. But no, typically the boards, you don't see changes throughout the year. It's just at the annual review, and if any changes are needed, they would make it annually.
Okay, and you said the amount is shown on the packet that you emailed us with the agenda?
It's in the bank statement.
It's in the bank statements and everything.
No, there's no amount listed on the actual policy or the
No, I
resolution.
know, but I was asking the others. The bank statement where here that you
No,
have
what
shown?
you saying?
She sent
That
it
you have
yesterday.
Don't you?
Okay,
You just have to remember when you look at those, because I want, this bank, the Techstar account and the BOK account is tied to the TWD loan. So there's gonna be money in there, but it's money that's set there to make the annual payments. Okay? So,
we just paying them once a year.
yeah, in August.
Huh?
August. Interest,
Twice.
it's twice.
Debbie, I didn't hear that. What is the August payment for?
For the Techstar payment,
No, but who's the,
Texas Water.
who's the
Texas
vendor
Water-
that pays?
Texas
What
Wa-
payment are you making?
it's for the $45 million loan to TWDD.
Oh. Okay, yeah, it's related to your bond. Okay,
Yeah.
I should make sure I heard. And that's an annual payment in August.
Right, well, we make 2 payments, there's 2 payments. Because there's an interest in a principal payment, so, but those accounts are tied to the bond.
You have the funds split between those 2 accounts?
Yes,
Is that
Okay.
a bond or no, or are they the same?
pardon me,
Is it a bond or a note, and are they the same?
the bond.
It's different from a note.
Yeah, they're,
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to conduct the annual review of district investment policy, take any necessary action?
Not make that motion. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
What's your next one, 10?
9.
No, not up until 10. Thank you, Ray. Lost this one. Discuss, review, and take action related to employment matters, including review of employees, job description, and district policies related to personal time off. Let's see. We didn't have anything in the packet for this, did we?
No.
No. Okay. I sent Debbie an email the other day asking her about some of this, and she responded.
I did send the response to all, I did send my response to all the board members.
So we all know what the response was.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I asked on that, but the PTOs is separate from any vacation or anything like that, right?
So, yeah, so there's,
That's a separate deal.
yeah, so there's a sick time and a vacation time.
And, I have a question. What time do you use when you go to your meetings, political meetings? Like, when you take that Monday off, then you go to?
So when I take take an extended lunch hour, I've never taken.
No,
Yeah.
like,
For the ECRP.
You have to do that the first of the month, every Monday, you're not here.
No, I'm here. I might not for lunch.
Okay.
It's just lunch. It's not that I'm leaving town, it's lunch.
Okay. Well,
If I leave town, I take a
Well, that-
vacation day or sick day,
and that
but
was
it's just
mine.
lunch.
That day that we had that discussion as to what can the girls do in here
If I'm not here,
if you're not here or for some reason something
Well, it's
happens.
just
you're
like
gone
this
for-
day you were sick.
it's like even when I was sick, I mean, you're welcome to look at my phone and stuff, but
Right. Yeah,
I
but
mean, I was,
I know that.
I'm still worried. So, I mean, but, I mean, here's a real good example, okay?
That's the questions I asked her.
I mean, so, and I'm not gonna try to go any farther than last week, but last week I ate lunch here all 3 days except for I wasn't here Thursday and Friday. So I didn't take a lunch hour. When, this week, I took 30 minutes for lunch on Monday. I didn't take a lunch yesterday or today. So there's time, but I don't count that. I don't keep a log or whatever. And so when I leave here to go do something that might be, to have lunch with a city council member or a commissioner or whatever. And it could extend past an hour. Even when I do those things, I usually am taking mail deposits or something else that I need to drop off somewhere, whether it's annexations or whatever. So part of my time is not just my lunch, it is also conducting Ecud business. So that's what I do. John and I are exempt.
that was one of my questions.
So do you need the definition of an exempt and a
Yeah, that'd be
non-exempt employee? So an exempt employee gets paid 40 hours a week, whether they work 30 hours or they work 80 hours. That's their base pay. That's it. They're not hourly. And we're the only two employees that are exempt. Everyone else is an hourly employee
Your salary, so.
because we're salaried. So
Are they paid salary or are they paid hourly?
who?
The other employees?
They're paid by the hour. They're non-exempt. They're a non-exempt employee.
And they have a time clock, correct?
Right, they punch in and out. I mean, so and I'm just gonna say, so John, if John has to leave early because his daughter's sick, and so he leaves at 4 o'clock to go by and pick her up, he still gets paid till 5 because he's exempt. Now, I don't require John to tell me how many hours that week or that month that he worked till 5:30 or 6 o'clock here with me, because he didn't get paid overtime for that. And there are more hours, and that's why usually we're exempt, is because there's more hours that we are working past 40 hours than there are that we are working less than 40 hours. Now, Troy has been on this board the longest. And so Troy can give his opinion whether he thinks that these two exempt employees work after hours to compensate for an hour and a half lunch or not, or the board can put us on salary. But I know this man behind me knows that I've worked longer than that, along with the hourly employees.
Well, I can, and I'm not trying to be the devil's advocate or anything like that, but I've called both of them. John, when after you first came on, I had a question and I called him, I think it was a Saturday afternoon, he was asking me, and you answered the phone. And you've always answered my calls, so in my opinion, you kind of have, it's kind of like I'm
He
salaried, I go
was
home,
at dinner.
I go home at 3 o'clock every day, but I still get my 40 hours. Some days you work a lot more and some days you don't have to, and I don't know how you break that down any other way.
That's,
But they've never not answered my calls, so that's all I
Whether
can say about
24/7, 24/7, we're on call. And believe me, it's 24/7. But,
especially when there's a week.
or
a mess.
or an upset customer.
So basically you don't really have to answer to nobody.
Well, for example, last week when I wasn't here on Thursday and Friday, I advised the board I wasn't here. But if the board is wanting me to clock in and out when I take lunch, they want John to clock in and
We're
out.
not talking about clocking in and out. Which is a pet peeve with me. I'm probably the only one in here that, or is wondering about some of this stuff. But you got free reign around here. I mean, why you bothered to inform us that you was not gonna be here, I don't know. But, we don't get informed on nothing else. I mean, you're off the third Thursday of every month. And I
Before,
would venture to say, if you invested as much time with Ecud, or your heart was in it as much here at Ecud as it is with the Ecud County Republican women, we might get our money's worth. But sometimes I feel like we're not getting our money's worth at $120,000 a month, a year. And like I say, that may be just me personally, but you can go and do whatever you want to and not answer to nobody. You say you answer to the board, but that's not necessary, so. And
well, I know when her mother was dying, we were informed. Anytime she had to take off for everything that was going on. But that was before this board, and I'm just saying,
I'm sorry, it's like she said, you've been here longer than the rest of us.
yes, sir. I know. All I can tell you is what's happened in the past. And I felt like she's always been at least beholden to the board, because I know for a fact she's worried about her job. So I know that she's been more responsive to this
We
board
can
than I've
agree to
seen.
disagree on that part, but,
Okay,
you know, I
fair enough.
gave me typical response when we tell her we want to do something. And you tell me if I'm lying or wrong. Whatever the board wants, I will do. But you don't believe that. You're there to do what you think we want done, and that's not what I want. I want somebody that's got the same vision we got for this board, for this district. And, we had lined up on that since we come into office, I don't think. You pretty much go along with what we got because that's your job and you have to. But I don't really feel that you feel that way, and that may be unjust on my part, but that's the way I feel. And, I can pick up Facebook and look on it any time, and you and your cohorts are plastered all over the place on your extracurricular activities. And I'm sure you're doing a wonderful job for them, or you wouldn't be in the position you're in, but sometimes I think you let that interfere with your job here. And I'm not a big fan of that, but
Well,
Can I say one thing real quick? And I'll drop it after this. I can assure you from what I know, from before her time here, we had a very hard time making anything in the black. Okay, we weren't making a profit, breaking even, or losing money. And I can assure you, since she's been here, those increases, that black margin has gone up dramatically. I'm not saying that she's got our best interest at heart, but I can say since she's been here, things have drastically improved financially. Okay, I'm not saying what she's doing is the best of anything, but I think we're actually showing a profit for a change. And that 120,000 has to be spoken for somewhere. Right, there's your proof. If you go back and look 5 or 6 years back at the financials, you're gonna see that it went from, oh shit, what are we gonna do? To, oh yeah, we're making a little money. I mean, we're not making a huge profit yet, but if we keep going this direction, we might, one of these days.
but it hadn't been from expanding the district.
No, it hasn't. It's been management.
And that's just, I don't know why nobody wants to expand the district. I mean.
Well, it's just expensive. I mean, that's, I'm looking at, I'm
So
looking
it's
at,
45 million, but I mean.
that was
where we're
before
at.
my time.
And I think, somewhere back down the line, these last 10 years, there could have been more effort.
Oh, yeah.
put into
Oh, I
expanding the district.
100% agree. But all I can do is worry about tomorrow, not what happened before our time. That's what we're here.
The other thing is, you give us your job description, and there's some things I don't think you're qualified for. The other day, y'all went out to write off part of Madrid's work, you and John, and I don't know if Demetrio went, but there was more than one of you. Now, I don't know that you know anything about pipe, or the installation, you can take their word what they told you. And maybe Demetrio or Eduardo or Edward, they know, but, that falls under your category, and I don't, according to the job description. There's just a few things on here I don't think you're qualified to do that falls under your job description. John, I don't know where he was at when he come in here, but from what I've seen of what he's doing, I wouldn't want his job for nothing. I think he's doing hell of a job. But,
I'm not sure that I want any of their jobs.
but, I expect for $120,000 a year, I expect more than what we're getting. And, I don't know what the last board was thinking of, but that contract they give you was one hell of a contract. And, we're where we're at and we're stuck with what we got, so we're gonna have to live with it. But I think as a board member, you need to understand where I'm coming from. And if it hurts your feelings or pisses you off, I'm sorry, but that's just where I'm at on this deal. I'm after one thing, and I think the other two guys, Troy didn't run, so I don't know. But we want to expand this district, and that crap the last board pulled when they dropped the M and O tax was the biggest cluster I ever run across. But we're gonna get through it one way or the other. But they dang sure wasn't helping, but we're stuck with what we got, and we're gonna do the best we can. Anybody else got anything to say?
We're a big team here. We all get, I mean, we're all in agreement. We're doing something here that's for the community, for our customers. Um, it's not where it needs to be.
But it's a lot closer than it was.
Yeah.
4 years
And
ago.
we're far away. Are we gonna fix the problem? Probably not, but we're pushing it in the right direction.
I don't think we'll see it in our lifetime.
I don't think so.
Not in my
I think
lifetime, I'm older.
Well, and 45 million is gonna take a whole hell of a lot longer to pay off than any one of us want to. But we're saddled with the debt. How do we expand if we can't borrow more money? We can't. So unless the county commissioners or somebody else gets involved and Brooks Landgraf, whoever, and gets us more money, we're kind of handcuffed. I would love to expand the district, but I don't know that I can afford what, let's just say $3,000 times three, just for my three kids to have pieces of my property is gonna cost me $9,000 for them, for me not to pay their damn water bill, which may be worth it, but still, that's a lot of money. You know, I'm just,
And that's what we're here, is to find resolutions, find it.
and you know, 4 years ago, if you take a second and go back and look at finances from the past 4 years, even though we dropped the M and O tax, which I'll disagree. If we can live without it, I'd rather live without it. That's how I personally feel. And we're still making a profit at the end of the month. I don't see a problem with it. I don't like taxes anyway. If I could be away with, I didn't vote for the ESD and I never will.
Troy, at the amount of money we're making now, you can't expand.
True, but are you willing to expand this district on the backs of your customers? On your back, on my back, on his back?
If it
on
comes
his
to
back?
taxes, yeah, I am. And I hate them as bad as anybody, but it ain't never gonna happen without a little help from the people out there.
Well, it's not enough. We're not able to tax enough to make a difference. Because if you look back
That's right.
at what
There's
that
other
M&O
places.
at the M and O tax, it was barely enough to put in, what was it, 300 foot of pipe?
Well, I think that could be adjusted too, but anyhow, that's down the road. Let's move on. There's nothing really to vote on that agenda item.
Well, before you,
Go ahead.
so I guess what John and most of us, I mean, part about being on salary, because I've been on salary for the last jobs that I've had and in Debbie's defense, the work doesn't stop. But where we would like to see a change is anytime you take a day off, there's something that you gotta do, is just, we just want to know. We know you're still working. We know stuff's gonna get done, but we want to be made aware. Because there was a few times I was gonna come in and they're actually not there. I was like, okay. So I have to make time.
So I can tell you if I've taken a day off, you will have been notified.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, there's.
If I'm going, and I don't care, I mean, if you want me to take, I mean, I can arrange starting in June on when I have because a lot of those activities are after 5 o'clock or on weekends. There is the meeting that I go to on Thursdays. When I leave here, even Mr. Kelly caught me at the post office, even on my lunch hours, I was running and doing errands. So this staff will testify to that. So on those Thursday meetings that I go to, if this board would prefer, I have no problem. I will take a half a day, personal day off. if that's what you want me to do. I'm not gone a half of a day. The most that I am gone that is actually my lunch hour and not running errands might be an extra 40 minutes to 45 minutes. But if this board would like for and prefer me to use a half a day off, I don't mind doing it. I'll take a half a day off, schedule a doctor's appointment on that day and take a half a day off.
I think what we're talking about is when you're not, you're taking time off from Ecud for non-Ecud events.
I have, and I always will make sure that the board knows that I'm not here.
Is that,
If
And
you're
I think
willing,
that's very fair.
if you're willing to take a half a day off, or you willing not to attend the meeting,
What meeting?
the one you're taking a half a day off for.
No, that's my personal time. That would be discriminating against me, telling me I can't do it on my own time.
How many days vacation have you taken since you took the job?
Very few, Troy, you know that.
I know, I'm just putting it out there.
When my
Just putting it
mother,
out there.
my mother passed away,
I know,
and I found her that morning.
and we finally told you to
I
go.
came to work that day.
I know,
I never even took off to bury her or have a service.
I know. I'm just trying to make a point.
And so for someone to think that I've taken advantage is a little bit discriminating.
All right, let's go to 10. Consider and discuss the Mojo lease.
On this Mojo lease, thank you, John. On this Mojo lease, the building and the slab that it's on and the electricity going to that building is on the Mojo lease, Agmore property. And that project was pretty well finished up, I think by September 23. The pumps that's over there, the pumps is what's called, it's an alleyway. If you look way back when, it's supposed to be a street from Lake 338 all the way back to, I think it's Burke. That street was to be called Peacock. So we went to the Ector County, and Ector County says, we don't even want it anymore. Okay, good. And Ecud and Acorn block off each side, and if y'all go over and look on Arcadia, there's a fence set back in there about 100 feet. And that was an agreement with Acorn. The pumps that's out there is in an alley that actually belongs to Ector County, not Ecud. That pump station's built in two pieces. One piece is to go to southeast part of Ecud. The other piece is to go to northeast Ecud sometime in the future. That's what it was built for. It's flanged together, can be taken apart, make those pumps go from 40 horsepower to 100 horsepower. Those are out in storage out there at Ecud, which will save Ecud a hell of a lot of money. This lease right here was negotiated between Acorn, their lawyers, and Ecud's lawyers. It was a fair lease. When that lease is over with, the building is set to a crane can actually come to the building and pick it up and put it on a trailer and be transported someplace else to get off that property. The guy that runs Acorn, Frosty, said, take the concrete pad up too. I don't want it. And I think he might have changed his mind by now. There's other stuff going on up there. But that power going over there is Ecud's power. And it can be taken away. It needs to be taken away. So I don't know what y'all are doing as far as the lease goes. But to what you said a while ago about transparency, if I knew what was going on up there, I wouldn't want to waste my time about sitting in this chair and help educate you guys about what that lease said. Frosty Yellen has been over backwards to help Ecud. We built fences around there to help him out, keep idiots from dumping tires and stuff on his property. On the end of Burke, we put fences up there so idiots couldn't go out in that pit that he owns to dump a bunch of tires and stuff. He was appreciative of that. So he's helped us a lot. I mean, a lot. So I don't know what's going on now. If I had y'all's board package that I could look at before coming to these board meetings, I wouldn't have our confrontations that we do all the time. And you're in a very hard situation right now, and I understand that. And you guys are learning. Like Bill said, we're gonna learn. Y'all are learning the hard way, but you're learning. You're gonna get it. That's my opinion. Other than that,
In our defense, there's nothing in the packet.
Is the station being used now
No.
at all?
Okay, hang on a second. Can we have a discussion? Even code Robert's rule says we can't.
Yeah.
No, sir, it's not being used. Whenever
And do we
the,
have equipment still there on?
Yes, we have 2 pumps.
no,
We don't,
hang on a second. Inside the building itself, all the electrical controls and every air conditioning, everything else have been taken out and it's in storage. So there's nothing inside the building that I know of. I've asked. I mean, there's VFDs in here that are very, very expensive, variable feed drives.
variable
That
frequency
that was in that building, all those been taken out. All the control panels been taken out. There's nothing in there that's expensive at all. The chain link fence needs to be taken down.
The only reason that I brought it up is because I signed this lease check the other day. And if it's not being used, we don't need the lease anymore.
Right.
I mean,
Amen. That's why I'm bringing this.
That's all I want to do.
So we just need to
And I-
plan on trying to move the building, if I understand it, and
If
take down
we-
the fence.
If we can cancel the lease, but I know it's to give them.
As soon as you pick up that building and move it, and the pump station has a concrete pad over there, this building will fit on. It takes 8 bolts, 2 in each corner, to put this building over and bolt it down. And it can be secure again. The fence needs to be taken down. Concrete slab gets busted up and put in his pit, which is about 50 yards away. And Robert Flores has dump trucks that can handle these concrete pieces, big rocks, and all that. It's old dump trucks that's being beat up. He put it in Robert's trucks, he goes over in that pit, he dumps it, and he brings it back out. No charge whatsoever.
How big's the building?
Pardon?
How big is the building?
How big is the building that we're talking about? I'm gonna say probably 15 by 15, 13 by 15.
I was thinking small.
It's small, it is foam insulated, it is a friggin' awesome building. But it has pickup lugs for a crane to pick it up, set it on the trailer, take it over to the pump station property, set it back down the pad, bolt it down with some anchors, and you have an awesome building. Take up the fence, roll it up, put it with other fences over there or out here, it's 8-foot chain link fence. Yeah.
So we could get rid of that lease. Yes, it has been,
Well,
at least since the pumps went online is when we took that out of service.
Okay.
The new pumps.
September 23.
All right, so that's 2 years, yes.
Is that the government we're talking about, that you try to read?
Yeah, Frosty Gillum.
Yeah, and you say you couldn't get a hold of it?
Yeah, he's been real hard to get a hold of him. We've even tried, again this past week to try to get a hold of him. Because, he wants to be involved as we disassemble it.
And is there a problem there? I know.
No, it's just,
I've dealt with.
he's a world traveler.
He can be a jerk.
Yeah, he can be, but he's always been good to Ecud. I will testify to that.
I don't mean it won't change.
Oh, yeah, he could have a hair in under his saddle and that could all change. But I think if we can get a hold of him, he will probably even help us do this stuff to get it off the property and in the lease. He's not making that,
He won't help you.
well, he won't stand in the way for sure.
So were you trying to get a hold of him because of this lease?
Yes, that's what I've been trying to get. And Demetrio has been, in contact with one of his, employees, and they will not make a decision without Mr. Gillum.
Can we send him a certified letter?
We can.
I think that's a good idea.
That's, I'm gonna make a motion that we follow through and see if we can make contact with Frosty Gillum and see what we can do about terminating the lease so we can clear the property and save ourselves $1,000 a month.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Okay, consider discuss Eddie Langer's presentation. I don't know if y'all remember. Was
Wake Eddie up.
You wasn't here. You wasn't here last month, but.
I was here last month. I wasn't here the month. No, I wasn't here last month. You're right.
Okay. Are you familiar with where the school's going in on Trip?
Yes.
Okay. On Third Street, they're fixing to expand it, back east of Trip.
Okay.
They're gonna redo that road, go across Trip, all the way down the, try and take that little nip out of it. And they're gonna eventually go all the way to, Moss or not. Anyhow, he approached us and he come in last month and made a little presentation, but this area I've got, actually,
Right here?
you're seeing that.
In the water?
Yeah, flip it over.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. That blank spot right there,
Yes, sir.
water line starts and stops on each side of that blank spot.
Okay.
And what he's wanting to see if we'll work with the county on extending those and tying them together. I hooked him up with, Kimberly Horn, with the guy that, I forget his name, I got it, Andrew Simonson.
Yeah.
Cause he's familiar with it.
And what he also wants to do is, let's see, this is a cell site? Okay.
Well, it's not platted there, but they've already platted the property across there.
For the school.
So while they're doing
No,
it,
for places they're selling, cause the schools,
Oh, okay.
the school's gonna go over.
And Eddie Landrum is trying to develop this area.
Yeah, for the county.
Okay.
For the county. He worked for the county. He's in
Okay.
development services.
Okay.
He's in charge of extending.
So what does this cost?
Well, that's what we're working on. That's why I want to see if we can pursue it.
so they're willing to take, either they dig the ditches, do the work and we put the material, or vice versa, it was cheaper for us.
I guarantee digging the ditch is a whole lot cheaper. Let's do that.
So
Well, I don't know if we'll do either or. I think
Even with the rock saw, that pipe is what,
they got
$1 million
the,
a mile?
they got the equipment though, and they just, cause they're gonna personally, the county's gonna pave that road.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have come to him, that blank spot on this side, one of those 9 acres, and he's gonna develop that. It's platted on the other side and some of it is already sold.
And they can't get water in the back.
Right, and they've all, not all of them, a lot of them have come to him and said, we want water.
Yeah.
And there's potentially 40 something, deals there. That don't mean you get all of them.
Yeah. I think we at least need to look into it and discuss our options.
while they're doing, widening that road, he wants us to cut across, he goes, we can cut across. and-
Before they pave it and we're
Yes.
good.
Yeah, cause he said, once we pave it,
Once you pave it, we're screwed.
they're going underground.
Yeah,
Because
and
he
it's
said, "We ain't gonna allow
expensive.
that." Yeah, and he said, I'm not sure there's even enough room to set up on the north side,
Easement.
to do that.
Mm.
Now, I don't know how much this is gonna cost, but I wanted Kimberly, that,
Give it one.
Andrew, to get with him, because he can give them specifics and kind of give us a
Some ballparks.
ballpark. And Eddie said, even if they don't want the meters now, they'll GPS them, but I prefer to put the meters in now and we charge them for it and go on. No discount on this.
Uh-huh.
Give
Because
us-
they're gonna need it.
Yeah.
So, and those properties there, they're 1 acre tracts, and they said.
Those aren't total, that's.
No. Yeah, they're 1 acres, and he said that most everybody said that their family members they're gonna live on one half and the other family, so that
That's
doubles.
superb. Yeah.
And there's gonna be a road on the backside of those lots, but
And that's not even counting what, cars,
yeah, Carter bought 100
100
acres.
acres, and he's doing
And
half
the guy
tracks
come
on
in here
those.
and give a presentation, he's bought 100 acres of it. But I would, if we can
If we
work
can afford it.
together and it
Yeah.
costs an arm and a leg. Debbie, didn't you tell, Darryl that we're gonna have money left over from the Madrid jobs?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, I think we'll.
And we gotta look into that to see if we can use that to
Financial.
make sure,
I
to make sure that,
I think we just, I think we can.
But if there's any left
We
over,
just have to let Madrid to do it because it'll be in their bid package.
if there's any money left over, that won't be available till when?
You mentioned that,
So we really won't know whether you're under budget or over budget.
But
Until
I mean,
it's finished.
say he was under budget,
It
when
would
would
be
that money be available?
26.
See, that's gonna be too late.
Too late.
He's gotta be finished with this August of 2026.
So here's what I would suggest the board do. Is to let Kimberly Horn look at it. let's see what they think that it's gonna cost. They'll have to do, we'll have to go out to bid, let Kimberly Horn do that. And then let's decide whether we want to go ahead and pay for it up front, and then we'll, because we do have some cash available. And we'll see if that's an investment that the district wants to make and, pursue it that way.
You're talking about putting it out to somebody to bid the whole job?
Or bid the pieces that we want bidded.
Okay.
To only bid the pieces that we want bidded. But I think the board should take action today to, let Kimberly Horn follow through with it. Chandler called me this week. Andrew could not get a hold of Eddie Landrum. Chandler yesterday told me that he had reached out to Eddie and was waiting on a phone call back. Let Eddie and Chandler visit about it. And then, let Chandler present what his findings is to the board for his recommendations for us to move forward with this project. That's what my recommendation would be.
Well, those your campaign promise fulfilled. That's an easy way to fulfill your campaign promise. You just expanded the district.
Yeah, there's gonna be people pissed off about that, but,
It's not, you're expanding the district.
not going
If the
there.
board will allow me, I'll work with Chandler, with Kimberly Horn, and then we'll.
And who was Chandler now? Run it by me, I missed it.
He's for Kimberly Horn.
Kimberly Horn.
Chandler. And who's, Andrew?
Kimberly Horn.
Kimberly Horn.
One work.
They work
They
together.
would work together. Chandler's out of Lubbock and Andrew's out of Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
And so Andrew kind of gave this project to Chandler, and Chandler was reaching out to Eddie.
Okay, cause I did, after I hooked him and
Eddie,
up, I hadn't heard anything
yeah,
else.
Eddie's hard to get.
Eddie didn't get a hold, never returned Andrew, and so he handed it to Chandler, and so that's where it went. So if,
I say we move forward. I make a motion to move forward with this project and see what we can afford.
Second.
That's fair enough.
All in favor?
Aye. Is that sufficient?
yeah, because I'm just gonna work with him a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Item number 12.
Well, David's got to leave.
Real quick, I'm sorry, just to clarify on the last motion. The board wants to proceed with Kimberly Horn reviewing this and looking into a cost estimate and bring back some recommendation to the board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just check. Thank you.
Will that have a cost?
Yes.
Will that have a cost?
Will that cost the board for Kimberly Horn to look into it? Yeah, they'll charge us some money. It won't be a lot.
It's not gonna be very much, just kind of preliminary measuring, yeah.
I got rid of the
Your
ticker.
cousin. His cousin.
Well, practice a lot. Okay. Number 12, all consent agenda items listed or considered routine by the board will be enacted by a single motion. No separate discussion or action on any of the items is necessary unless directed by a board member. Discuss, consider, and take action necessary on the minutes from April 19th, 25, regular board meeting, April 14th to 25, special board meeting. Discuss, consider, and take action as necessary regarding accounts payable for May the 14th. I don't know what the accounts payable are for May the 14th.
That's these, isn't it? That's these checks,
And your register, it's in your.
these checks that they want y'all to sign. And these are the ones that we're putting through the check registry, correct?
For last one.
Those are the ones that are. fine.
Yeah, last.
They're in the month.
Refund deposit?
Joanne Ramona and Ecud Transport.
Is it Joanna? How you say it?
Joanna.
For me, okay?
Yeah, that's not your money.
Like, that's not.
Yeah.
It's Joanna. I was making sure there was no V in there.
I'm gonna go ahead and sign this while I got it, instead of you looking at it and then passing it back to me.
Okay.
Or whoever.
Well, him.
But
Well, it'd be Jesus, I can,
You can send it, yes.
I can look at it, yeah, I can look at it.
Yeah.
And prove it.
Only has to sign.
This is to refund of the deposits or something, no? Sure. What was the deposit for? Oh, that's $65. What was the $3,500 for?
I have mobile meter,
Uh,
mobile meter, you can close a closed account.
Oh, okay.
With no balance fee. Oh, that one's okay. I like that one.
Want to try to get me the real. So I can make sure I get all my checks back.
All your ducks in a row? Come on now, speaking of, big one. Did it really? I was wondering why you didn't bring it to my dadgum house. When I figured you ate, well, I couldn't catch him. And, but he would come over and let me pet him, or he'd come up to me so I could pet him whenever he wanted, so if I tried to grab him, he'd fly out. And he finally just, my son goes, "Did you feel like, you feel like it was the sunset?" I kept going, but it's gone. I got a mallard that would do that every night. Oh. So you approved it now? Plead the fifth on that one. We've lost everybody but you.
Yeah.
Today, well, she's waiting on, there's a deal here. We can't do anything about this.
I know,
Okay.
I know, but I know what to do now.
You know what to do now. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't involve violence.
Oh, violence is the fun.
Let's
see.
So that I can move on,
Thank you, young lady. Yes, you can.
leave.
No,
So I sent y'all my manager's report yesterday. And along with the weekly reports, and so that's really all my report is.
you need to go.
Read it to you if you want me to.
I've already read it. I'll look at it. I'll read it. It's my reading material. Don't tell us where you read it. Out on location. This morning.
We do it different. Instead of me verbally telling you stuff, I typed all this up and gave it to you, so then you can have it. So if this works better for the board to do it this way, this is the way I'll continue to do it.
It's nice. It's interesting read.
And some of it will be kind of repetitive every month. Yeah, it'll just be, but I mean, we'll address the things and stuff, and so.
On this PSC, you might have to look at this and explain it. Did they bid their work out except for the supply? What are these figures here?
That's the $1 million that it's in the invoice. You have talked to PSC about it, right?
It's the what?
$1 million.
Oh, yes.
Everything we had.
Yeah, that's that is collective. That is a collective dollar since we've been doing business with PSC,
That's what we paid them so far.
So far.
since inception.
But their monthly fee
Oh.
depends on whatever ours is.
Correct. Whether hours are or whether. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the
We don't have any annexations this month.
That's good. One less thing we gotta worry about.
The only other thing that I was going to tell you is that, we did complete our cybersecurity training as those employees that were required.
Right?
So that has been completed.
Yeah.
And the only other thing that's not in the report is that, the PWD.
DMV Auto Parts, they'll buy stuff from there, everything. That's an auto parts.
Yes.
That's what I'm glad, I thought it was something they're getting repaired. So they charge us for gas cans?
Do, does Ecud ever get quotes on, spraying?
Demetrio does.
Huh?
Demetrio does, because it's for all the yard. Every piece of property.
I've seen a couple of bids on that in the past.
Yeah.
No, hell no, they ain't cheap. The chemicals alone are expensive as hell. Trust me, I have to buy something for my house. Tried to kill my parking lot.
What's, insurance on liability and,
That's for the trucks.
huh?
That's for the trucks.
Pickup trucks.
I mean, truck.
Auto insurance,
I mean, we got
6,
Seven.
7.
I'm not mistaken.
25,000.
That's the back.
Commercial
That's the
insurance,
back.
that's expensive.
Trailer, that's the-
That's something, I was discussing with,
Daryl,
Daryl. We could probably have some maintenance in-house, I think a lot of money. I think so, since they're going to the shop.
You got
And every shop charges thousands of dollars.
anybody qualified?
I don't know, but, we have to come up, I think we have to come up with a maintenance, in-house, maintenance department or program, whatever you wanna call it.
well, I
They
know
could save us-
that,
they
like,
could save us
even changing oil, I can't change oil on my property because I only have the oil.
Okay.
And that's the deal is having.
Your environmental regulations.
Yeah, all the regulations.
Some of that stuff's tough.
Yeah.
I can't, honestly, I cannot wash trucks on my lot. City does not allow. City, I'm right inside the city. My chain link fence is the city. City line.
So are you wanting us to, try to hire a mechanic full-time?
I don't know, we'll have to think about plans before we come up.
I guess if you can see, mate, so it would be
How much money we're spending on maintenance.
maintenance. Now, we're talking about just, I guess, oil changes,
All changes I would like to do here. I have to get rid of that oil sample.
Industry.
And, but
For the field.
but then you're looking at disposal and all that, so that's why I guess we look at what we spent on maintenance for a year versus,
What a employee would call.
yeah.
And we can, I'll be
Plus
glad to
the
try to,
PPA.
when we get to.
or qualify one of
budget,
our employees, sorry.
When we get to budget, we can do that. Which is around the corner.
Right.
Where we start preparing and get ready for budget. And start working on budget in July.
West Texas, is that for the materials and
That's-
labor?
No, that's IT.
That's IT.
But is that just for the, getting it on the website and stuff and the materials?
That's all your equipment for audio and
That's what I'm saying.
That's all the
part for getting
cameras.
it on the website.
Mhm.
So the parts and everything was $69,000.
What?
Yeah, so you got to bid it.
Can we get right now?
Yeah, it's broke down. Okay. Satellite camera mount, so much cable. Installation's 2,500. Medium meeting room bundle with Yes, sir, a fourth grade or something. I don't know.
No wonder it took so long to get here.
Huh?
No wonder it took so long to get here.
What's the total? 80,000?
Eight.
Eight.
You said
it'd be like
It said 69,000. 6,900? 6,900 I can live with, 69,000, that's fixing to, defecate the tree. Heck no, I ain't signing that. I don't approve that one.
Take him back.
Yeah, 8,900 I can deal with, 69,000 I cannot.
Is that it?
Yes,
That's it? That's
it's the
your,
one point at my face.
What is
your
it?
speaker?
That was gonna say, I've never seen that.
That's it.
No, on the TV.
No, that's a speaker. Or-
Yeah, that's the speaker where they hear us.
And this two right here.
Well, nobody was bitching, so I guess it worked.
It's, would this table fit this way? And the only reason I'm saying is we could put chairs, because like,
I don't know, I'd have to get my tape measure out, you may go get it?
I think
I got one on the door.
I'm just saying that, so. Chair can go this way.
You wait to come?
I don't mind nobody behind. I'm sure. So I always take them.
If you hire like a mechanic or make some sort of in-house maintenance program or department, would they always have something to do? Or would they always have something to do? Is there always something broken down or something? I would look
Well,
at,
we gotta look at also too, because you're looking at insurance. You're looking at disposal, EPA. Well, not saying that we can't ever do it.
On the,
I mean, they will get bigger.
on the trip in Third Street
Yes.
project,
Are we through with Debbie now, or no? 10 foot.
we don't have, we're not getting a door.
I had sent it
Yeah,
yesterday,
that's 14
so it's
at least.
basically what I was gonna say. It's
Oh,
just written.
Put all of us over there and everybody over here. We have 2 rows.
On that, trip in Third project,
Yes, sir,
our guys can do all the labor, can't they?
I believe so. We'll look at it, John.
And I can, let me check tomorrow, because I put it on.
okay, well, that's good, yeah.
It has.
That's the same?
If you want to, and then I'll go ahead and cut the check tomorrow for April, because I didn't cut this. Put this batch, okay?
Okay.
What's that?
Or,
Now we'll cut that tomorrow, first thing tomorrow morning.
And then I'll sign it and get one of them to come in and sign it.
And then we can send it. And I'll cut this check tomorrow.
The only thing I said, was Demetri over here last month? Was Demetri at the board meeting last month?
Just at the beginning.
Just at the very beginning when Eddie was here and
Okay.
we left. And so,
Because his name was on the minutes and I didn't remember seeing
yeah,
it.
he was here at the beginning. He just gave through Eddie and maybe one or two of them left.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the minutes? And the accounts payable for May 14th?
A motion approved.
There's one in there, I agree with, so, I'm sorry.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Nay.
3 in favor, 1 opposed. Received general manager's report. You're saying you sent that to us?
Yes, sir. I sent it in the packages yesterday, so I kind of took a different approach. Instead of so that you'd actually have something in writing. So in your packages and what I sent you last night, a 2-page narrative covering everything that has gone on. Well, that's not a true statement. I did the highlights, you know, it's kind of like, Jesus was looking at it yesterday, I believe it was. And he was like, man, that's a lot of stuff that went on in April. And I said, it goes on every month. And then there's things that we do that aren't in here. But I think the highlights that I'd like to really stress are, one, that in the billing collections, that there were 487 letters, delinquent letters that were mailed out. And then due to phone calls made by staff, there were only 34 customers who failed to make their payments. And so there were work orders that were distributed to disconnect water. So we went from 487 down to 34. So that is extremely remarkable with our staff that we have. The next thing, I guess, is of course, there were 280 work orders that were dispatched basically internally from billing and collections for whether it was water leaks, a problem, disconnect, reconnect, new connects, hydrants, whatever. It was just out of the billing and collections department. And then we come around to the field staff. There were work orders as well that were generated themselves. And those work orders are sometimes done by 811 lines. And some of those are emergencies that have to be taken care of immediately. Some of them are not. They're just regular work orders that are generated. So those are all listed. I do have a copy of all the 811s. There's a stack of paper about so thick that if anybody would ever like to look at the 811, I have them. Jimmy Carroll can produce them for you. As you know, the project on 42nd, they're already out there working. Desert Paving is. They did find the 2 valves that we indicated where they were. It's kind of, I found it kind of humorous myself when I went out there, but they went to go dig and they couldn't find them, but yet this is the only hole they had to dig to find them. So big it was.
So they found it.
Right where it was.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, wait, so we're waiting on a change order through the county for the other ones, and then there's railing that'll be put up around the CRWD pipe that's out there, so they'll do that. Everyone in the district that was required to take the cybersecurity training has done so and completed, and it has already been noted. And I notified Nicole that we had all taken it and then went on the website to make sure that it was already completed and everything on there. The only other thing that I've mentioned this before is that the pump station came in under budget, $518,000. And so that money, we were always told had to be applied to the principal. We can't apply it to the principal to pay down the note because the contract states that we cannot do that until 2030. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with this money because you have to have an audit and paper trail, $518,000.
Invest it.
And so you cannot invest it. It has to go towards the note. But it can't go to the note to 2030. So I'm getting a letter or an email from them telling us that we can use that money as part of our principal payment in August. So that's what I'm working on. The other thing is that from the life of the loan, you earn interest on that money because it's your money. So the district has earned a little over $700,000 in interest income. But that money has to be reported to the IRS, and the IRS wants their part of the money. So when I reached out to Hilltop to try to work with them on how this needs to work, and then with hanging, I'm still waiting on some direction on what to do with that. That total amount would be $1.2 million. And that $2 million is sitting in Ecud's possession. We got possession of that money in March. And so we cannot spend that 700 and something in interest. I don't know how much of that we can spend and how much of it we have to give to the IRS. And I won't know, probably, I hope I know this time next week and what direction that we need to take, on that.
And that's for this year, or 24's taxes. If we have to pay.
I think you have to pay it within a certain time. Yeah, so I don't think it's not like a taxes like you're used to paying. I think it falls under a different regulatory regulation. And so that's what we would have to do. And so when I know that, I will make you aware of it. If there are any documents that have to be signed or any engagement letters that have to be signed so that someone can calculate what all that has to be, then we might have to have a special meeting so that we can sign those documents so that we can move forward if it would keep us from incurring any penalty fees with the IRS.
Definitely don't want that.
So when I know, I'll let you know. I kind of just stumbled upon that bond money makes interest and you're responsible for paying it. And I was like, oh, hey, let me dig into this and figure this out. Because that's what it means. So,
And Debbie, any bills, they can calculate the arbitrage that y'all are gonna have to pay back?
that's what I'm gonna try to, they're trying to do that. I reached out to them this morning. I visited with
Okay.
Hilltop
Okay.
yesterday. And so Hilltop can do it. And they're working on an agreement for us, to do that. And so, and what the cost would be. And so it seemed a little expensive.
Yeah, okay.
It seemed a little expensive to me, but when I get that, I'll send that over to you because you might be more aware of what that cost should look like than me. It's new to me.
Yeah, I mean, we probably have two companies that we use that do, they basically kind of do like a 5-year, like forecast and look back for the district related to their arbitrage, earnings on their loan proceeds and the interest that has occurred. I can't remember what their annual amount is because it's typically a 5-year proposal that they do. But I'll pull one and look at that amount. But yeah, if you'll get the one for Hilltop so we can kind of compare the Hilltop proposal as well.
Yeah, so if the board will just give me direction to work with you on that, and I'll send that to you, and then we can present something to the board.
I make a motion.
And are we anticipating a payment, an IRS payment due soon?
Well, the loan was taken
Or
out,
are we?
I don't know, because the loan was taken out in 2019.
Okay, yeah, so we're coming up on 5 years. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why, and like I said, when I was just having conversations with an accountant and they mentioned it to me and I was like, we have to, well, I need to do, it made me reach out to TWDB and to Hilltop and to Haney when I learned all of this week.
Yes.
So
If you and I.
but if the board will
Yeah,
just
maybe
give me direction to work with you on.
From Hilltop.
Yep.
Well, I mean, at this point, I don't think there's anything to work with me on. I think as soon as you get something from Hilltop, and if they're able to do the calculation, then we may need to have a special meeting so the board can approve and take action on that proposal. or if the board wants to, approve moving forward with any proposal up to a certain dollar amount, y'all could do that as well.
Because they're telling me that it's like $1,500 for each accrual year.
Times 5.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, Debbie. Let me
75.
see if I can pull up on my email what, our main consultant that we use for.
So, so if they'll give me the approval to do it with anything less than
Anything less than 10?
10, then I can do it, and then we don't have to have a special meeting, and we move forward.
I make a motion that we approve Debbie to make this situation with the IRS up to $10,000.
Yeah, that should be plenty. I pulled up one of ours from arbitrage compliance specialists. They typically charge, it's about annual reports, about $700 a year. And for them to do that historic 5-year calculation and $3,250, which is basically the 700 broken out by 5 years.
Just anywhere like this.
Okay, so the amount was up to 10,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, I second.
Okay.
Troy made a motion and Darrell seconded, and all in favor? Aye. And it's approved.
Okay, so the board understands that he's gonna get a proposal from Hilltop, and as long as it's under 10,000 to do this, calculation, which I presume it will be, she'll, approve engaging them and have them start the work.
I have a question. What if it's above 10,000? Do we still have
That's
that
a special
special meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Something.
we would have to have a special meeting, but I don't anticipate it being more than 10,000. I think it's probably less than 5.
Okay.
All right, I got a question before we move, or a statement, whatever, before we move forward, or a question. Debbie, on that, you sent us an email here the other day on that Chuck Cloy, the guy that does the
Water.
water deal. And I thought it said on there somewhere that was in 2025 on that email.
So,
That can't be right, can it?
so we received it in 2025.
But he did his last.
Calculation, I think, was October, November, and December. I
24.
sent it to you. Is that what it said?
Yes,
I think-
he did his last calculations the end quarter of 24, but we didn't receive anything until 25.
Why was he done?
Because
He was checking
that's
the rate.
before he left the firm he was with, he was still trying to check our rate to see if we were being taken advantage of, because what it appears to look like, and this is my knowledge, that the Javier Hoven administration was trying to charge us more
For the work.
for the water plant work and all that stuff, but the new administration, what's his name, Mike? Who's the new mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they have lowered it, and it is all within reason according to Chuck Loy's calculations nationwide. Statewide.
So there's no need
In us arguing the point, we need to sign a contract as soon as we can.
no, they need to go over it.
Well-
Contract.
Right, but at the point we're at right now, he has looked at it and we're well below the norm.
Do we need him to explain all that to us before we move forward?
Well, he works for a different company now. I don't think we'll be able to get him to. We have his report from last
I
year.
think I would try to negotiate the contract or whatever, and you might bring him in after the city presents us with a contract.
Well, on some of that interlocal stuff, besides the actual contract on the deal, it kept referring. One thing I'm concerned about, of course, you're gonna be interested in this since it goes with property tax, but the last one the city agreed upon, if we took in any territory outside of the district now and went to the loop, the interstate and all that, 1,000 foot. And when we go for taxes, I want to post 5,000 foot outside that. I don't know if the city cares one way or the other, but before we draw a contract, that needs to be looked at. And they kept referring to a CCN on some of the paperwork too. I don't understand that. If it costs us money to get a CCN, I don't
It
know
costs a lot of money.
why they keep bringing it up.
Yeah, because they're just trying to prevent somebody else from possibly putting in a water district up.
Okay.
But it's gonna cost them as much or more than what it costs us now. It doesn't make sense.
So do we need to, get him involved in negotiations for a contract on water?
I think eventually you might, but not yet. Because
He would come in, so
unless somebody has presented us with a contract,
I don't think they're gonna do that unless we approach them. And I'm assuming it's to do with the new city manager. That's gonna be his department. That's all I need. All right, we need to approve the general manager report. Yes. Go ahead, Dave.
So real quick, it's kind of part of that. I don't think we need to go into full closed session, but I did want to let y'all know that, we did, do the motion to dismiss the PUC filing. And then I did have a conversation with Debbie and the prior attorney, Mr. Wilburn, just to kind of get up to speed on, what any of those joint status meetings, included, with the city and, the Ecud representative. As part of that discussion, and there was a first meeting in like December 2024, and we were really kind of just trying to wait, getting information from the city on rates, and they never really provided us that. And talking with Debbie and Randy, it seemed like the big issue was that the prior contract was always based on the calculation of the audited financial statement. And Randy and Debbie said that there were no audited financial statements for many, many years. But then Debbie, correct me if I'm wrong, it seemed like Randy said that the city's attorney thought there was audited financial statement. But we don't, to y'all's knowledge, y'all never received an audited financial statement from the city.
no ma'am, they do, they should have 22s in June.
Yeah, so again, I mean, the thought process is, and when we had our special meeting, is do we want to have a committee of 2 directors to kind of start this process with talking with the new city? Obviously, there was change in the city, change on the Ecud board. So, now it's kind of all new, fresh people off the table on both sides. So do we want to have a committee that they approach the city, say, look, we're not going to speak to the old contract, but the PUC filing's been dismissed. We want to get a new contract in place. Let's work on that and let's iron out any issues that, may have been a problem. It seemed in the discussion there was really only one issue. Well, that was told to me was that there was no provision for the city to cancel. So that's obviously something I think we'd have to work on. But the big thing is how it's going to be calculated, because if it's going to be based on these audited financial statements, we're a few years behind with the city getting audited financial statements.
She's
So
shaking.
I don't know if y'all want to have a committee, start working with the city representatives, or if you want to go a different route.
We probably ought to. I think the board ought to be represented on the committee.
who's the committee? No, the chair,
Huh?
the chair.
Oh, Timmy, I think, that being said, I'm gonna put it out there. I know that some people have issues with Debbie's political connections. Those guys can thank her for their jobs. So if anybody's gonna have our best interest, I mean, I will go with her, Darryl will go with her, Jesus, you. But I think she needs to be involved because those guys really like her. So I think it would be advantageous to us to use her influence as best we can.
So we can take 2 board members.
And Debbie.
And Debbie.
Yeah.
And
Does that sound good to you?
Board members, they can't be like rotating of the board members.
Yeah, it has to be the 2 same board members. So
Yes, and then y'all could bring back, you know, a summary and discussions and recommendations for the board to take.
why don't you nominate two people, John?
And I'm just gonna add for discussion, I don't have to be part of it.
I want you there because I know how much those guys are beholden to you. And I know that it may not make a difference, but it may make a huge difference.
I got no problem.
Because there has been problems in the past, especially personalities. And if we have a personality that is kind to both sides, it may help us dramatically. That's just my thoughts. She doesn't have to be there. It's up to y'all, but if I'm gonna be involved, that's what I would like. But it's y'all's choice. I don't know whose job it is to nominate or anything.
The board's job as a whole. Need a board member to nominate anything.
Hey, I nominate Daryl.
I nominate Jesus.
There you go. All
My-
Just need a motion to nominate Daryl and Jesus to the committee.
two positions, yes.
My main interest is getting it cheaper than what we've been paying for.
And that's what I'm after too. I mean, if y'all want me involved, I'll be glad to be involved, but
You don't want me on the committee because you see how I act.
if you're too busy, deny it, I'll take it. I don't care.
He already gave me the look before.
Okay. Good. We got two committee members and, Miss Debbie.
Okay, so
Yes.
Daryl and Jesus and Debbie part of the committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and
Whenever
big
she
thing,
sets it up.
Debbie, you know, per our conversation, the big thing is we need to have a concrete way of method and how we're gonna calculate this.
Yes, ma'am.
And if there's a way we can do differently than the audited financial statements, because they're so far behind, I think that's the better route to go.
I totally concur.
Okay. And so, Troy, you make that motion, to nominate that.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make the
those three
motion
members the
to
committee.
nominate Daryl, Jesus, and Debbie to the, water
The
contract
contract
committee.
committee.
Contract committee, that's a good name.
I second.
All in favor? Me.
All right, it passes unanimously. All right, now, can we vote on receiving the general manager's report? No, and it never voted on it. We just.
I make a motion, we approve the general manager's
I
report.
second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Pass. Discuss and consider items for future agendas. I don't have anything right
I
now.
don't either.
All right, I make a motion, but we don't even have to.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait. What you got? We can adjourn.
Agenda items. I mean, this is just something I would like somebody from
Henning Company?
next month here.
Okay. If we can bring them in.
Can you do that, Debbie?
Do my best.
Discuss and consider items for agenda. Well, that's it. Okay.
Hang
Are
on.
we ready to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I said,
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Have a good
You too.
I hung up on her, sorry.
Is there any question?
No, it's just.
I just pushed it.
Yeah, it stopped. You paused it. Very good.
Okay.
Okay.